For the 100th consecutive time, a sellout crowd at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, but most of that crowd waiting till the very final seconds before kickoff because it's a cold, rainy, miserable day. Hello, I'm Gary Gerould, along with Harvey Martin. Earlier today on NFL 84, we alluded to the new-look Steelers, the involvement of the running game around Frank Pollard, but there's another very exciting performer by name of Louis Lips that many think could be Rookie of the Year.
You're right, Gary. Louis Lips, not only is he an exciting receiver, he also leads the NFL in punt returns. He's fourth right now in NFL in punt returns. That makes him a double threat whenever he touches the football.
He makes things happen on the football field. We'll enjoy watching him this afternoon. On the other side of the field, the Oilers struggling. They've lost 9 in a row. Their rookie coach, Hugh Campbell, looking for his first NFL victory. But somehow, through all this frustration, he's still smiling.
Well, I think we have a very young team that has played enthusiastic football, improving each week. And I think that this has happened because we see the films. We can see that we've improved. These young players come back and try to improve even more each time out. It's a case of having a bunch of people, coaches and players that have been in winning programs before and now are thrown together, and it's taking a little time to get everything going the right direction.
Hugh Campbell maintaining a degree of optimism, while across the way, of course, Chuck Noll now in his 16th season with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and what an impressive record he has compiled, particularly here at home, where the Steelers win virtually 80% of the time. Today, however, whoever wins, who knows how much they're going to be able to enjoy it, because the weather conditions are tough. As you can see, the players seeking whatever protection that is available. A steady rain has been falling for the past couple of hours. They've just squeegeed or vacuumed the field, so the conditions on the surface very good. It's chilly, 46 degrees. You see the forecast. We're expecting rain throughout the afternoon. Yesterday, absolutely a picture-perfect day in Pittsburgh. Temperature up in the high 50s, close to 60, not a cloud in sight. But this morning, there's been no sun right into the afternoon. Joe Cooper, newly acquired kicker, getting us underway as he goes deep, and it's Ehrenberg who brings the ball out for the Steelers across the 30 to the 33-yard line. 23 yards on the return for Rich Ehrenberg, the rookie from Colgate, and the Steelers behind Mark Malone will start things out today. We take a look at their starting lineup. Ehrenberg and Pollard will be the setbacks, and then that receiving core, Stallworth, Thompson, and the tight end Darrell Nelson. Interior line for only the second time this year, this unit playing together. Snell, Boris, Webster, Winkle, and Ilkin. Just underway at Three Rivers in the rain. Steelers with a 2-game lead in the AFC Central Division. The Oilers seeking their first victory of the campaign. Call goes to Ehrenberg out across the 35. Gets it 4 or 5 yards. Back very close to the 40 as we take a look now at the defensive alignment for the Houston Oilers. The down linemen, Ham, Stensrud, and Baker. Familiar names in that linebacking core, faced by Brazil and Abraham. Bingham, Riley also in the foursome. And the deep backs, Brown, Bostic, Hartwig, and Tullis. Tullis today having to do battle with John Stallworth. He could have his hands full. Pickup of close to 7 yards in that first carry by Ehrenberg. This time it's Pollard. Not much to work with as Houston's defense muscles up, led by Jesse Baker. The playing conditions very much on the mind of everyone coming into this one. Harvey, you've played in conditions similar to this. What kind of a factor is it?
Well, when you're playing on an artificial surface, really your cleats on the bottom of your shoes don't help you that much. If you notice, they had to squeeze you the field before they started the game. You might see a lot of slipping today, and you might see a lot of receivers slipping on their routes.
As we mentioned, having squeegeed the field in good shape right now, but we were amazed at how quickly the water accumulated in the 1 hour leading up to kickoff and the time that they put the vacuum equipment on the artificial surface. Malone to throw. This one off target. Lips the intended receiver at the Houston 45-yard line. Tullis was down there defending, and Malone getting up a little bit slowly.
What happened on that play? Greg Bingham blitzed, and he was in his face right as he threw the ball.
Mark Malone had problems last week in Atlanta in his first series. He was intercepted, but then the Pittsburgh defense, as they have done so many times this year, came up with another turnover, and the Steelers went on to a lopsided victory. Craig Colquitt, the punter for the Steelers, standing at his own 26-yard line. Carl Roach is the single deep man back at the 20 for Houston. The kick is a poor kick, not going very far. Hits out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Colquitt a little unhappy as he rubs his hands and comes to the near sideline. Well, I tell you, you've got to be a football fan to be out here in these conditions, and they've got him at Three Rivers today. 22 yards only on the punts as Houston will put the ball in play for the first time. We'll get a look at Warren Moon and company for the Houston Oilers. Let's take a look at the starting lineup now. Moon, designated here in white, is the only rookie in this group. Moriarty, the single setback. You'll see Dressel as the H-back, or the motion back, as they call him. And the interior line with Dean Steinkuhler, the rookie at right tackle. One change has Jim Romano starting at center, and Matthews, who has been the center through the season, going back to his familiar position at right guard. Trying to find something, bounces to the outside. Looked like they had him stopped once, but he still will manage only a yard or so. Brian Hinkle coming up to make the tackle. As we'll take a look at the defensive alignment now for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Goodman, Dunn, and Gary are the 3 down linemen and the 3-4. You'll notice that David Little starts in place of Jack Lambert. Lambert has had a frustrating season because of a dislocated big toe, the perennial Pro Bowler. And the deep backs who've been spectacular this season: Woodruff, Shell, Williams, and Washington with his 6 interceptions. Stan Edwards now in at the running back position for Houston. First carry by Moriarty was good for 2 yards. Edwards loses the football. The Steelers say they have it. And indeed they do. You could hear the pop of the pads as they met Edwards right in the hole, and he coughs up the football.
This is something that Houston is trying to do. They have to establish a running game. The Steelers are looking for passes from Warren Moon. As you see right here, the running back should have held on to the ball. It shouldn't have been a fumble.
So the first turnover will give the Steelers the first break. We'll be back for more in a moment. Martin in an opportunity to look at Stan Edwards carrying the football, and unfortunately for the Oilers, losing it right here, Harvey.
Stan Edwards only carried the ball 12 times this year. So if you notice, he doesn't have the experience of holding on to the ball. It's a wet field. He has to learn how to hold it.
So the Steelers, who went virtually nowhere on their first series, had to surrender the football after 3 downs, now have it in Houston territory. And an Oiler ball club that has just had so little to cheer about finds themselves in an early hole. Look at that hit out there. Oh, Steve Brown unloading on Rich Ehrenberg. This telecast being presented by authority of the National Football League, and it is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Pittsburgh Steelers and the National Football League is prohibited.
I talked to Steve Brown last night, and Steve is real fired up for the ball game. He feels Houston has to win a ball game sometime, and he really read that play well.
Loss of 2 makes it 2nd and 12. Mark Malone in only his 5th start as an NFL quarterback. Wide open, Stallworth. He'll score. As they have done so many times this year, capitalizing on a turnover, the Steelers behind Malone and Stallworth had Tullis beat easily at the 15-yard line.
Willie Tullis, talking to him yesterday, said he was going to play Stallworth aggressively. Obviously, he didn't play him too aggressive on that play.
Gary Anderson on for the conversion attempt now for Pittsburgh as they jump in front, capitalizing on the Houston turnover. And immediately, as we're just underway here, 11:43 to play in the first quarter, and the Steelers, on a touchdown pass from Malone to Stallworth, go out in front by a count of 7-0. 3 touchdown passes in a victory over Atlanta last week, starting quickly here with a 43-yard strike to John Stallworth. Stallworth having an outstanding season, his 49th career touchdown. He's now just 2 short of Lynn Swann's Steeler club record. Carl Roaches at the 2-yard line. A hole for Roaches. And down at the 36. Excellent return on the part of Carl Roaches as we have an opportunity to go back and take another look at the touchdown scoring pass of 43 yards from Malone to Stallworth.
See, Malone is looking over the field right now. He knows that Stallworth will be open. He's going straight to Stallworth. He's looking right where he's supposed to be. Tullis is right. If you see him behind him, there's Stallworth. He's wide open. I can't understand. It must have been a defensive mix-up. It had to be a defensive mix-up for Willie Tullis to be that far behind.
So the Oilers, who had 2 plays from scrimmage before fumbling and then leading to the Pittsburgh score, try again now from their own 36. Dressel at the 45-yard line, still on his feet, and down at about the 47, close to a 10-yard pickup on the play. May be good for the first down as Sam Washington from the right corner came over and made the hit. Dressel, the H-back, or the motion back, with his 23rd reception of the year.
The Houston Oilers really wanted to come into the game and run the football, but obviously that's gone away now because of the first fumble. Now they have to pass the ball, and that's what the Steelers want them to do.
First down at the 47-yard line. Pickup of better than 10 yards on that initial pass by Warren Moon. Contact in the line. Romano at center, bumped by Gary Dunn, and we'll see whether or not Romano brought Dunn across or if Dunn was just trying to anticipate the count.
Encroachment. Defense.
Jerry Seaman will be handling the calls for us today, the referee and the rest of his working compatriots in the black and white on the field. So the Markov moves the ball across midfield now, and the Oilers, after surrendering that touchdown, for the first time are in Pittsburgh territory. They're at the Steeler 48. Dressel swapping ends now with Jamie Williams, the tight end. Ball's in motion this time. Moriarty straight ahead for perhaps 3, maybe 4 yards as he gets down to the 45, possibly the 44-yard line. Moon with the indication that they're going to be 1 yard short of a first down, according to his estimation. John Goodman and Gary Dunn with the tackle for the Steelers.
On that offside play, Gary, the problem with that is Gary Dunn was right up on the ball. That is something that was made famous by Joe Green. It's a little bit more of an intimidation thing. If you see a defensive lineman right over your nose, if you're a center, you really will have a problem.
And this being the first start for Romano, who was acquired just 3 weeks ago from the LA Raiders, perhaps Dunn trying to take advantage of the fact and believing that Romano may be a little bit rusty in his first duties or a bit nervous. Moriarty with the spin will gain about a yard. A couple of pretty good pops right there, as once again you see Mike Merriweather, who's having just an outstanding season, the third-year player, number 57, who was in on the stop.
Well, as you see, you watch Romano with the ball. Gary Dunn's to the right. He's right up on the ball. Romano's got to snap the ball and block him. He charges to the outside, and he's in the backfield. Joe Green made that famous, and Gary Dunn was a student of Joe Green.
Saw Moriarty spinning to get out of the grasp of the onrushing Dunn, but then he was hammered by Merriweather and company. Pickup of 1 will make it 3rd and 1. First quarter, Three River Stadium, Pittsburgh on top. Moriarty, the ball carrier. He'll be close to the first down as he goes to the left side.
That's Romano again. It's right on Gary Dunn. Gary Dunn's taking that side, and he's doing a good job at it. Oh, that's David Little right there. He's a good linebacker. Larry Little's little brother, as he likes to say, number 50.
Taking a look here at Chuck Noll on the sideline, looking on as the Oilers have the first down. 1st and 10, just enough to get the first down.
Now, Romano's doing a pretty good job, even though Gary Dunn is charging to that outside shoulder. Romano's, he's pushing him right outside. That is the hazard of being that close up on the ball.
Giants and the Lions off to early advantages in their games. We'll keep you up to date on all the scores throughout the afternoon. Oilers trying to generate some momentum now. Hey, complete a pass at the 31-yard line. Herky Walls should have another first down. Herky Walls, the second-year player out of Texas, brought down by Sam Washington. And Walls, if he gets some room to operate, he can be very exciting, as evidenced a 76-yard play last week that was just short of a touchdown for the Oilers.
Herky Walls is out of the Dallas area, and as a high school player, when I was with the Cowboys, we read a lot about Herky. Herky, is, as you said last week, had a long 76-yard. He didn't score on that play, though.
That's right.
He did not score. Was pushed out on the 1-yard line, but he's a threat.
Tampa Bay with a touchdown over Minnesota. James Wilder with a run to put the Bucks up early. Steeler defense digging in now. Moriarty juggling momentarily, but then regaining composure, turns ahead to about the 27, possibly the 26-yard line. Hinkle with the tackle for the Steelers. Moriarty hasn't had the impressive yards the last couple of weeks, but then you have to realize that so frequently this season, the Oilers having to play catch-up football, and they've got to go to the air, try to put points on the scoreboard, so he hasn't had that many opportunities, but only in the vicinity of 35 yards the last couple of weeks after a very strong 60-plus yards against Miami 3 weeks ago. Second down, gain of close to 5 on that play. Moon looks for Dressel. Dressel can't hang on at the 20-yard line. Was wide open. And you don't know if that's a little lapse in concentration or what. Dressel has to be unhappy as he comes jogging back to the huddle.
This is the Houston Oilers' strong suit. It's Warren Moon passing the football. That we know Warren Moon can do. Dressel just has to hold on to the ball. I don't know if it's water. Oh, he had a chance. He had a chance to catch the ball. I don't know if it's the water on the ball or just lack of concentration. It's a catchable football.
That'll make it 3rd and 5. 6:52 remaining first quarter. Steelers lead 7-0. 43-yard touchdown pass from Malone to Stallworth. Moon again. Heavy pressure, completes the pass inside the 20. I believe it was Edwards out of the backfield who comes up with the football. No, now they rule no catch. Stan Edwards unhappy, along with Dean Steinkühler, the tackle who was down there, and we'll take another look at it to see. Edwards thought he had a reception.
It looked like a reception from this side. No, he picked it up from the ground. He picked it up from the ground.
Well, our crew right on top of that. We appreciate the opportunity to get a second look, and you could see that he didn't have possession, juggling down there. So John James has come on to hold, and Joe Cooper, who was just signed on Friday from the University of California, gets his first National Football League field goal attempt. This will be a 43-yarder. In the rain at Pittsburgh, Cooper's kick is up, and it hit the bar. It hit the crossbar, and that really kind of sums up the whole season for the Houston Oilers. Tremendous disappointment for the Oilers and their newly acquired kicker Joe Cooper. His 43-yarder hits the crossbar. 6:39 to play first quarter. Steelers on top by 7. Stadium in Pittsburgh, the Steelers with a 7-0 lead. They have the football back after Houston moved the ball. Their newly acquired kicker Joe Cooper trying a 43-yard field goal effort that hit the crossbar. No good. 7-0 ball game here in the rain. Steelers scoring, capitalizing on a Houston turnover, a fumble by Edwards that then resulted in a 43-yard touchdown pass from Malone to Stallworth. Straight ahead for a couple of tough yards. You mentioned coming into this ball game, Harvey, that Frank Pollard has really come along in the last month. The last 4 or 5 ball games has generated some numbers. He's had a couple of 100-yard games and making pokes here in Pittsburgh. Forget about that fellow by the name of Harris, who for so many seasons put up the numbers.
Well, it's kind of hard to forget about a guy named Frank or Harris. We look at John Stallworth. He's the guy that will make us maybe forget about Lance Swann if he catches 2 more TD passes.
Stallworth just having a sensational season, number 3 in the AFC among receivers. Rookie Ehrenberg with no place to go. Ham is there to make the tackle.
Both teams are trying to set up running games. Houston tried early on to set up a running game and got away from their basic game plan and started passing again. The Steelers are more concerned with running the football, getting the Oilers concerned with the football run, and then throwing the long bomb, either lips or to a Stallworth. And that's what's happening right now. The Steelers are using different formations. They're trying to run different types of traps out of formations, and the Steelers are a trapping ball club.
Houston now going to 4 down linemen as the Steelers have a 3rd and 8. The blitz, Donaldson, the blitz is picked up. Pass caught by Ehrenberg. Tremendous catch at the 36-yard line. Now they say no. Wait a minute. Taking a look at some scores, Detroit over Philadelphia 7-3. Tampa Bay with their 7-3 advantage over Minnesota as Malone looks on here trying to assess the situation. His indication that they need just a matter of inches. We're still trying to get a clarification on whether or not that pass was caught or not. Everybody in the stadium thought so, and then one official indicated that it was not, but now they moved the yard marker up. Reception was made, but it is going to be 4th and inches now for the Steelers.
This is a smart move by Chuck Noll. You got to understand the field's wet. A fumble can come at any time, and this would be a bad time to fumble a ball, especially at their end of the football field.
Saw the numbers on Craig Colquitt, who is the punter. Carl Roach is standing back at his own 26-yard line now for Houston. High snap. Colquitt pulls it down and gets off a fine kick. It's long, and Roaches has problems back at the 10-yard line. The ball is loose. I think Houston got it back, but the Steelers nearly came up with another golden opportunity. As it is, the Oilers will have their backs to the wall. Carl Roach is having trouble hanging on to a football in the rain here at Three Rivers. A line drive spiral taking down into the corner, and he tried to field it on the run. As you can see, all kinds of problems. The Steelers almost had a gift. We'll be back for more in a moment. At what turns out to be a 56-yard punt, and Roaches, the 5th-year player, can't hang on, and look how close Rick Woods comes to picking it up with the Steelers.
He shouldn't do that. Anytime a punt return, I don't care how excellent he is, sees a ball that close to his end zone, he should let it go on in and get the ball out on the 20.
So the Oilers, who missed a field goal opportunity when Cooper's kick hit the crossbar, now have to start way back in their own territory, and Warren Moon is unceremoniously dumped at the 1-yard line. Mike Merriweather, Gary Dunn in there. Oh, boy.
Well, the Steelers right now are just charged, and they know that it looked like a handoff mistake in that very play there. Houston is trying to set up some kind of running game. Warren Moon looked like he didn't know what happened. He was holding on to the ball. He's a little upset now, as you can see.
Good look at Warren Moon there back in the huddle as he sets his club, tries to regain some composure after being dumped. Ball spotted at the 4-yard line. Make it 2nd down now, and they need 15. Moriarty gets only a yard. Steeler fans coming to life, and once again Merriweather in there to make the stop.
Well, Houston's trying to establish some kind of running game. Word has it that the Steelers are looking for the Oilers to pass more. If they do, there will be 6 defensive backs. This is a running play. It's a trap. You see, they're pulling out, blocking Moriarty. Merriweather just plays real good. Number 57. As Gary Dunn, number 67, came in on the play. Moriarty's longest gain this year has been 19 yards, Gary. He really has to do better today.
Ball just over the 5-yard line. We'll call it 3rd and 13. Moon having to unload the football, and Dwayne Woodruff had a shot. Stan Edwards, the intended receiver, and Woodruff, who returned one for 42 yards this year, had a 65-yard TD return against Atlanta last week, providing the pressure, and the Steeler fans love it here at Three Rivers.
Earlier on this week, the people were talking about the Houston Oilers being a little bit fragile, and it's for this very reason. They're a very young team, and they have to get out of this hole. If they want to be competitive today against the Steelers, they have to do something.
John James, the veteran kicker, will be standing virtually back at the end line. He is just about a half step in front of the end line. Tough position to get a wet football and get a kick away. He gets it off. It's a high one. Lewis Lips circling at midfield. Lips looking for room near sidelines. Look out! We told you he makes things happen, and he's exciting. And Lewis Lips, with that youthful exuberance, comes back to a great reception here in the near sideline after Jeff Donaldson finally pulled him down. And about the 27-yard line, a return of 23 yards after a 47-yard kick. So Lewis Lips making it happen for the Steelers. Pittsburgh on top 7-0. We have 2:49 yet to play in the first quarter. We're back at Three Rivers Stadium. The Giants leading Dallas early in that one. Cleveland on top of Buffalo by a field goal. New Orleans with a 7-point lead over the Pack. Here at Pittsburgh, the Steelers lead 7-0. They have the football now after a 23-yard punt return by Lewis Lips at the Houston 27-yard line. Steelers On top after the initial touchdown pass from Malone to Stallworth. Stallworth on the near side. And Lewis Lips on the far side. Walt Abercrombie getting his first call of the afternoon. Struggling for a couple of tough yards to the 25-yard line. Avon Riley over to make the tackle for the Oilers.
Talked to Abercrombie in the clubhouse before the game. He's real happy to be playing now. He says his body feels a lot better. He's a former #1 draft choice, and he really would like to be in the offensive backfield more. I kind of figured that he would start when Franco left. I thought he would be the main man.
Walt had a knee injury early in the season, and that has affected his amount of playing time, and they've been using him more the last couple of weeks. And we get the feeling from talking to the coaching staff and the other players that everybody believes Abercrombie is about ready to break one sometime soon. This time it's Pollard struggling for a yard against the center of the defensive line. Somebody diving up over the top of the pile. Brazil and Abraham making the stop, drawing the reaction of the crowd.
Houston's defense has got to play good, tough football right here. This is not the time in the first quarter for the Oilers to fall behind 14-0 or 10-0. Regardless, they really have to play hard now.
Steelers, we've talked about their lack of consistency through this season, now faced with a 3rd and 7. 0 for 2 in third down conversions thus far. Malone got his second win as a starter last week against Atlanta. Weegee Thompson, ball is intercepted at the goal line, and Willie Tullis says, "I'll run it out." Tullis with a vicious hit over there at about the 11-yard line, and coming up to make that stop was Tunch Ilkin.
Intercepted by Lyday.
I called it was Willie Tullis. I believe it's Alan Lyday, the first-year player from Nebraska, number 28 rather than... And that'll be his first NFL interception. Indeed it is. Alan Lyday who makes the stop.
Oh.
Boy, there's graphic evidence on the hit made by right tackle Tunch Ilkin.
But Allen was in a great position. He was right where the ball was going to be. Malone, showing his inexperience, was looking at the receiver all the way. Anytime you do that, a defensive back can pick the ball off.
So a big play there on the part of the newcomer to the Houston secondary, stopping the Steeler drive. Houston in possession at the 12-yard line. This is Moriarty. Not much of anywhere to go. John Goodman has him in his grasp after he gets a couple of yards out to about the 14.
What happened on the play is you see Dressel in motion a lot. Dressel came in over the center, blocked Gary Dunn. Moriarty should have followed behind it. You might get a chance to see the play again later on, because I know Houston will go back to it. He just broke his pattern off. He's got to be the running back he's supposed to be, follow his blocking, and maybe he'll get some yards.
You could see Warren Moon intently peering at the sideline across the way as he was waiting for some kind of a signal or call from the bench. Moon, who had, of course, those tremendous years in the Canadian Football League up at Edmonton, passed for over 5,000 yards the last couple of seasons in the CFL. Whistles on the play. Robin Cole unloading on Moon, and Moon saying, "Wait a minute, didn't I hear a whistle?"
Really, Warren Moon is sort of slacked up a little bit, and Robin Cole just came right on through. Whistle's blown right now. The whistle's blown. Here comes Robin Cole. He even pulled the ball down, and that's the old Steeler intimidation. I think he learned that from Lambert.
Well, after 6 seasons as an outside,
#1 offense, still second down.
we get the call there from Jerry Seaman. After 6 years as an outside linebacker, Robin Cole moved this year to the inside spot, and showing you some of the fire there that Steeler defensive units have been known for over the years. Moves the ball back to the 10-yard line, still second down. Counting down inside the final minute now of the first quarter here at Three Rivers. Pittsburgh with a 7-point lead, Houston with a football. Penalty markers down again. Screen pass dumped off. Moriarty looking for some room, gets a block across the 15, but again penalty markers are down. Gary Dunn again with the tackle, and we'll let Jerry Seaman and his crew once again inform us. Offside indication against Houston.
That's 2 penalties in a row against the Oilers. That was a good play, though. Warren Moon and the sideline giving in the play to Warren Moon. A screen play. The way the Steelers are charging him, they can catch the Steelers defense off guard. It was a good play to have against a situation like it is.
Now we get the official call.
Offside, number 87, offense,
Jamie Williams, the tight end, the one who was offside.
Jamie Williams is probably in a hurry to get a block on those hard rushing linebackers. It seems like Houston's going backwards instead of forwards.
Well, we're going to go to New York now and update some other action around the NFL. NFL 84.
At Soldier Field, Jim McMahon hit Willie Gault for 50 yards. That put the Bears at the Raider 18. Dick Enberg takes it from there.
Raiders were offside, and Peyton, he's on his way for a touchdown.
7-0 Chicago. Let's go back to you, Gary.
All right, Peyton scoring in Chicago against the Raiders. We're back live in Pittsburgh. Jamie Williams pulling in the pass from Warren Moon, well short of the first down, and we've got fisticuffs in the end zone. Well, the end of the first quarter, and tempers a bit frayed here in the rain and the cold at Pittsburgh. A couple of altercations breaking out, but as frequently is the case, no apparent damage done at this point, Harvey.
Well, no damage done. Anytime you see football players fighting, really nothing can happen. Guys got pads on, as you can see, helmets, hand pads, knee pads, thigh pads. Just frustrations, all that is. I saw Bruce Matthews is the one that really got into the fight, and he probably was upset. Because the offensive line for the Houston Oilers, a big, good offensive line. There's more potential right now than anything, because they really haven't showed the potential that they have. They're big, they're huge. And the coach of Houston, Hugh Campbell, feels that they will be a good offensive line in a couple of years.
Out at the 14-yard line, we get the gun. That'll end the first quarter of play here at Three Rivers. So we'll be swapping ends of the field here in the rain. Pittsburgh on top here on the touchdown pass early from Malone to Stallworth. It's a 7-0 ball game. We hope you'll stay with us.
Was talking about how the Oilers need to keep the ball away from the Steelers offense, and they're doing so. As you see the time of possession right now, the Oilers are ahead. Now you think about the fight a few minutes ago. I think that was more frustration than anything else. If it was in Houston, it might lift the Oilers up, but this is Pittsburgh, and the fans are for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
At the 15-yard line, 3rd down 7 for Houston as we start now the second quarter. Oilers trailing by 7. Moon trying to hang on to that football. This one is picked off. No, can't hang on. Sam Washington almost had his 7th interception of the year. It was that close. He almost tipped it away. He thought he had it. Let's take another look, Harvey.
Warren Moon's in a shotgun here. He almost loses the ball there. He's looking at his receiver all the way. He throws the ball into a crowd. I mean, you should have faith in your arm, but sometimes you should be realistic. There were 2 Steelers around him. Sam Washington made a very, very good play.
So the Oilers now 1 for 4 in 3rd down conversions, and they'll have to turn over the football now as we have John James standing back at the goal line to kick. And you hear the Lou sound at Three Rivers as they await some more excitement from Lewis Lips standing back at his 45. This will be a short kick. It is a short kick by James. Bounding at midfield. Lips stopped as he grabbed the football right at the 50-yard line. 35 yards on the punt by John James, and Eric Mullins making the tackle for the Oilers.
Eric Mullins did a very good job. You have to understand, Lewis Lips is dangerous. Every time he touches the ball, it's a potential touchdown.
And Lips does not like to take the fair catch. Only one time this year has he fair caught a football. All the rest of the times, he wants to run with it. He likes that challenge.
You see the coach, Hugh Campbell, talking to James, being sure that he gets the ball away from Lewis Lips. I can understand him doing that.
All right, we're just underway in the second quarter here at Three Rivers. Steelers have the football in midfield. They have the lead over the Oilers by a touchdown. Steelers with the football at midfield as they will put things in play. 7-0 lead. Ouija Thompson down to the bottom of the screen as Malone gives the football to Ehrenberg. I beg your pardon, Abercrombie is the ball carrier. Abercrombie takes it into Houston territory at the 41. Good effort on the part of Walt Abercrombie there as he picks up some running room.
Abercrombie's real happy to be playing. He actually looked to the sideline and thought they were pulling him out, and the coach says, no, stay in, Walter. You're doing a good job. Really, it happens when you don't play a lot. You're used to going in and substituting. When the coach sends you in on special plays, you think you're coming back out. But no, he's doing a good job today.
Gain of 8 on that last play for Walt Abercrombie. 2nd and 2. Inside handoff. This is Lips across the 40. He has the first down at the Houston 39.
Today's game is brought to you by Ram Tough Trucks and revolutionary new cars. Dodge, an American revolution. By AT&T, the more you hear, the better we sound. And by Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
Inside handoff to Lips. His first carry as an NFL ball carrier as a rusher. Of course, he's had spectacular numbers as a receiver and as a kick returner. We've seen evidence of that already this afternoon. He got the first down for the Steelers. And this time, Anthony Corley, the rookie running back from Nevada Reno, bulling ahead for good yardage.
What Pittsburgh's doing is running traps in the line, and this is still a trademark. They have all kind of traps, and that's when the lineman from the other side pulls and blocks the other defensive lineman who doesn't know he's coming. If people at home don't know what a trap really is. But that is something that the Steelers do very well. Franco Harris made it very popular. Now the other running backs for the Steelers are keeping that alive.
You see the other scores. New Orleans on top of Green Bay. Tampa Bay 14-3 over Minnesota. Wilder with a pair of touchdowns in that contest now. Second down for Pittsburgh. Abercrombie with room to the 24-yard line. Robert Abraham finally making the tackle, and Abercrombie giving the Steeler fans something to root about is once again Mark Malone very coolly surveying the situation. And you know, Harvey, his confidence has to be being built up after the performance last week in the victory at Atlanta. On top now in this ball game.
Well, it has to be pretty big. I was talking to him in the locker room before the game. He was sitting down studying, doing little things right before the kickoff of the game to find out what he could do against the Houston Oilers. Right now, the Oilers are being a little bit too aggressive.
First down at the Houston 24. Pollard tripped up. Gained only a yard or two that time, and more evidence now of this continuing rain. You can see little puddles starting to pool now various points on the playing field. They squeegeed the field at just before kickoff, took a tremendous amount of water off. But here along the sidelines, you can see it's a steady rain. It's been doing this now for close to 3 hours.
Well, you see it standing on the field there, and as a football player and an ex-football player, this is real hard for you, especially if you're a defensive lineman and you're trying to get traction. The Steelers are running a lot of traps at everybody, and it makes it hard to stand up.
Ehrenberg in motion. Inside the 20, 15, down to the 14-yard line. Looks like he may have enough for another Pittsburgh first down. Frank Pollard taking the call, and they're alternating the running game among a variety of backs, Harvey.
All right, if you see the Oilers right here put themselves right in a big problem, Bob Ham, number 90, is inside, which makes it an automatic open hole for them. They're trying to guess with the Steelers, and they can't do that. They have to play basic defense.
Of course, that's a view that you've had many times in your career, looking at those big horses coming right at you, trying to read the hole and which way the block is going to go.
It's fun down there.
At the 13-yard line. Look at Malone all by himself with a beautiful fake, looking for the end zone. I believe he's found it. Touchdown, Pittsburgh.
The Oilers are guessing with the Steelers, like I said, the play before that. Malone saw that, faked his running backs one way and went the other way. Nobody was out there.
John Stallworth doing an excellent job downfield with the block that gave Malone the last couple of yards. Anderson on for the conversion attempt, and now a 13-0 ball game. 13-yard touchdown run after a beautiful handoff by Malone, and you can see the kick right through the middle in the driving rain at Pittsburgh. We have a penalty marker down on the field. Anderson running to the near side. The officials conferring. We'll see if this will result in another attempt or whether it'll be good.
Defense. Extra point is good. 5-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
On the kickoff. 7 plays, 50 yards. The Steelers eat up 4 minutes and 15 seconds, and as a result, they have a lead now of 14-0 over Houston. Back with more from Three Rivers after this. Caught a 90-yard touchdown pass from Terry Bradshaw. Gets his first NFL rushing touchdown. 13 yards, capping the drive of 7 plays, covering 50 yards. And as a result, Pittsburgh with a 2-touchdown advantage as we watch Anderson put his foot to the football. And this one will not be brought back as it clears the end zone. Tremendous kickoff by Gary Anderson. Pittsburgh with the scores coming on the 43-yard touchdown pass from Malone to Stallworth in the first quarter, and then on Malone's 13-yard run, enjoying the early advantage here by 2 touchdowns over the yet winless Oilers. And we have an official timeout on the field. So back with more action as the rain continues to fall in Pittsburgh, but the Steelers don't seem to mind at all. They lead by 14. Times in the last 12 years, Chuck Noll has taken his team into the playoffs, and although he says it's too early to be thinking about playoffs, looking at Pittsburgh's schedule, there are not too many tough spots left. Only the Raiders, and they could very well be clinching a division championship here in the next couple of weeks, with Cincinnati having to go against a very tough San Francisco ball club later today. Moon to throw, and the pass is dropped. Larry Moriarty out of the backfield trying to hang on, unable to do so, and we'll get another opportunity to take a look at that last score by Malone.
If you see, the whole defensive team for the Houston Oilers went to the left. Malone just rolled out to his right, and it was a touchdown. Brazil almost caught him, but as you see, the Houston Oilers are guessing right now. They have to go back to the basic defensive game plan and do what they were taught to do over the week. This happens with a young ball club. Everybody wants to help everybody out, and positions are left open. There was somebody that was supposed to be containing on that play.
10:22 left in the first half. Houston in possession at their own 20-yard line. 2nd and 10. Pressure for Moon. He's in deep trouble, in the grasp, and the sack will be recorded at about the 6-yard line. Let's check other excitement around the NFL as we go to New York with this update.
Jerry and Harvey, in the Hoosier Dome, the Colts have come back against the Chargers. Mark Herman to Ray Butler, who goes 74 yards up the sideline for the score. It came after Frank Kush had gambled on 4th and 1 from his own 25. Now 10-7 Chargers.
So the Colts establishing something for their faithful to cheer about in the Hoosier Dome on a spectacular play to Butler. And here the Steeler fans enjoying this afternoon as poor Warren Moon gets dumped back, and the ball is actually spotted at the 8-yard line.
That's Merriweather's 9th sack of the season. He's right in that tied with Rod Martin in the NFL and Lawrence Taylor as far as sacks are concerned with linebackers.
Merriweather having an outstanding season. 4-man rush this time. Pass complete at the 21-yard line, back to the initial line of scrimmage. Tim Smith throwing that one down, maybe out to the 22. Wayne Woodruff making the tackle for the Steelers as we get an opportunity to take another look.
Warren Moon's in the shotgun, which he needs the time today. He's getting a lot of pressure. He has all the time he needs. Warren Moon, we know, can throw the football. His receivers have to catch on to it and hold on to it, and maybe, just maybe, they'll do something.
Smith, who caught 83 last year, was tops among wide receivers in the NFL with his 33rd reception of the 1984 campaign, but not nearly enough for the first down. And John James once again in a punting situation, and Lewis Lips back at the 35 awaiting the football for the Steelers. Lips at the 41. He has room. Houston territory at the 44-yard line before Donaldson finally is there to bring him down. And Lips padding those statistics that have been impressive here in his rookie campaign.
That's a dangerous punt. You know, he needed to get the ball away from Lewis Lips because Lewis Lips can score anytime he gets the ball.
So the change of possession puts the Steelers in Houston territory. The Steelers lead by 14. The Steelers enjoying a lead of 2 touchdowns over the Houston Oilers. I'm Gary Gerould with Harvey Martin. We want to say congratulations to you. I know big doings in Dallas this weekend. You were named to their 25th anniversary Dream Team of the Cowboys.
I know, Dream Team. It makes you feel kind of good. Being from Dallas, growing up in Dallas, and being on the stage with heroes like Staubach and Meredith and Bob Hayes and Rayford Wright and Drew Pearson, all those guys, I feel real good about it. It's a happy thing to have.
Well, we share that pride with you. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Big doings this weekend down in Dallas, and here in the rain at Three Rivers. Steeler fans happy. The 100th consecutive sellout. A lot of folks staying home, perhaps watching this one on the telly today, however, because it's been played in a constant driving rain. and 10 in Houston territory, and Malone going to the air. Intended for Stallworth. No opportunity to pull that one in as we break away and update other action from New York.
Gary, in Chicago, Walter Payton has scored his second touchdown of the afternoon. This run came after Mark Wilson was intercepted by Leslie Frazier. Payton goes in there loud at Soldier Field. It's 14-0. The Bears lead it in the second quarter.
Yeah, the Raiders, the defending Super Bowl champions, struggling as they're down by a couple of scores now to the Chicago Bears, and Mr. Payton having himself an afternoon. 2nd and 10 for this man, Mark Malone, and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Abercrombie, no, it's Ehrenberg losing the football. Ehrenberg coughing it up. I believe he was able to recover the football, took it away from Robert Abraham, who was there trying to pounce on it.
Well, the big problem right now is the rain, and this is a very slick field, and anytime you have rain, anytime you see Ehrenberg coming through, he never got a hold of the ball. Being a rookie, he's got to understand, I don't want the coach to get on me tomorrow about this fumble. That's a 28th fumble this season. He's having a hard time holding on to the ball.
Second fumble that we have seen here this afternoon. Houston coughed it up a bit earlier. Steelers 0 for 3 in third down conversions thus far in this contest. Not reflected on the scoreboard, however. Down the middle, pass complete. Stallworth at the 30-yard line, thrown back to the 33. And John Stallworth just continues to amaze. Remember, last year he only played in 4 games. He had 8 receptions. This year he comes into this ball game as the third leading receiver with 46.
There's something that, as we look at John Stallworth walk off the field, Malone's got great confidence in him. As you see, he never turns his head. He's looking at Stallworth all the way. Stallworth is wide open, catches the ball. It's a good play. He's a good clutch receiver. What we didn't talk about, Gary, is very simple. This is the 7th straight game that the Pittsburgh defense is not allowed to score in the first quarter.
Good point. And at the 30-yard line now, first down. This is Pollard. He gets 3 or 4 yards. Keith Bostic coming up from strong safety position to help out on the tackle, number 25.
Pittsburgh is really attacking the middle of the Houston Oilers defense. Obviously, during the week, they saw something that they could really attack, and they're doing it very well.
Looking down on the field from our vantage point here high above, you can see the lot of water now pooling on the right-hand side where the ball is in play as we check some other scores. Green Bay over New Orleans by 3. Earlier score of 17-3, Detroit over Philadelphia. Take a look at that water.
That's rough on the football player, especially if you have to really guess where people are going. You might slip.
Malone dumping the ball off out here to Abercrombie, hurdling a man at the 20 and bumped out of bounds. Abercrombie will be very close to the first down. Willie Tullis making the stop. You see Bostic over there.
Both outside players from the Houston Oilers blitz. Yeah, I don't know if the Houston Oilers defense game plan was geared to do something like that, but that leaves a running back wide open. Now, obviously, somebody was supposed to be covering Abercrombie. He came right out of the backfield. I think his linebacker that was covering him blitzed.
See the change coming in from the near side, going across the field now, where they'll check the measurement to see whether or not the Steelers have the first down as they try to keep a scoring drive alive with 6.5 minutes yet to play here at Three Rivers in the first half.
You know what's happening? I see, with the Oilers being a very young team, as you see, first down. With the Oilers being a very young team, Gary, they are all trying to help each other out. In Dallas, I remember when we used to try to help each other out, especially with the flex defense, we would open up holes. Everybody has a position that they have to hold, regardless to somebody messing up. If somebody messes up on a play, you have to hold your own and hope that he gets himself together. This is not happening now. Everybody on the Oilers defense is trying to go to one spot, which leaves the whole field wide open.
Houston Ball Club, youngest in the NFL, average experience per man, 1.77 years. Pollard down to about the 16-yard line that time. Had some help up front from Toon Chilton, who was leading the way. Ham and Bingham with the tackle.
So Ehrenberg was out there blocking, too. I saw him blocking.
You get the feeling in talking with this coaching staff here at Pittsburgh, and even though they've been on the roller coaster this season, they have come up with some impressive performances followed by some dismal performances the next week. But you kind of get the feeling that they're on the verge of some big things. They've got a nice blend of veteran players and some very exciting young players.
That's right. They get up for the big teams and they let down for the not so good teams. This is a game they have to win.
Pollard on on the pitch out to the left side, being chased and brought down by Jesse Baker. Baker with 5.5 sacks this year with good penetration that time as he read the sweep, made the tackle.
I remember once when I was playing for Dallas, Ernie Stalkner, who's a Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Famer, he was my defensive line coach in Dallas, and he said, Harvey, you get prepared to play the all-pro offensive tackles, and then you get an offensive tackle that really shouldn't be playing, and he has a great game against you. Play everybody the same. Everybody can beat you. I think the Steelers are going to have to realize that everybody can beat them, and they won't have any peaks and valleys.
3rd down and 7. You see the 3rd down conversion graphic there. The Steelers with only 1 thus far this afternoon. Malone under pressure, looking for Stallworth. Touchdown Steelers. And Stallworth climbs another notch on the ladder as he comes closer to Lynn Swann's record here for the Steelers of 51 career touchdown catches. That's his 4th in 2 games, his 2nd here this afternoon, number 50 on the career, and Malone doing a job with Stallworth against the Oilers.
Malone's looking at Stallworth all the way. Did you see it was a blitz. It was a cornerback blitz. It was all over. Stallworth just beat his man totally.
Excellent pictures once again. Our crew down there in the rain battling it all afternoon, but right on top of that play, they had that one coming right at the lens. Anderson's conversion attempt, no doubt about that one, splits the middle, and so it's 21-0 now. Anderson coming off. Malone with a pair of touchdown passes now to Stallworth, and also the touchdown run of 13 yards makes it 21-0. We'll be back. Kickoff, the Steelers very much in control. Roaches and Walls, the deep spots for the Oilers, who now trail by 21. Roaches about 3 yards deep. Running into traffic out across the 20, and down he goes. Let's take another look at this spectacular scoring efforts, almost head on.
Malone's watching Stallworth all the way. As you can see coming in, Steve Brown is blitzing. See him go up at the left part of your screen? He's blitzing, throws the ball. That leaves Stallworth man-on-man with Alan Ladd. Touchdown.
Career number 50. Beautifully done. Malone with 3 touchdown passes last week in the victory over Atlanta. Pittsburgh coming into this one with a 5-4 record, the 2-game lead in the AFC Central Division over Cincinnati. The Bengals later today going against the San Francisco 49ers. Warren Moon with time. And this one is picked off. Going out of bounds is Eric Williams, the free safety, who picks it off. We pause briefly now for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Channel 11 WPXI TV Pittsburgh.
2nd down and 10.
2nd interception of the year for Eric Williams is Warren Moon. He's out there on the field taking a look. Boy, this is just a tough day as we get another.
Warren Moon has a lot of respect for his arm, but that was a short pass. He shouldn't have even thrown that ball.
2nd-year player from North Carolina State.
I think Warren Moon's trying to win it himself. He can't do that.
Apparently out of bounds. We didn't realize, with not a change of possession, that Houston still has the football here. Pass intended on the far side for Tim Smith goes incomplete.
The Steelers are throwing a lot of different defensive looks at him. But all the defensive looks they're throwing at them, there's only one thing happening. They're putting tremendous pressure on Warren Moon. Warren Moon has to throw the ball short. He's had to throw the ball away, and that's a problem.
Moon has had 2 opportunities this year where he's racked up some big numbers. He had 365 yards against the Colts and nearly 360 against the San Francisco 49ers. Right now he's more concerned with a 3rd down conversion, 1 for 5 thus far this afternoon. And it's been the case so many times this season for this Houston ball club, trying to battle back, and today having to do it here in the rain and the chill in Pittsburgh. Nice tight spiral. Pass is caught. Roaches just short of midfield at the 46-yard line. Donnie Shell, the defender. And that brings you out of a bit of a hole.
They needed that pass. Carl Roach is normally the kick returner. He's caught a couple of passes this season. That's his 3rd reception. Warren Moon has the time. And you see what he can do when he has the time. He will find his receiver. All his receivers have to do is just catch the ball. The big offensive line for Houston has to give Warren Moon more time, because without time, there's nothing he can do.
Just over 4 minutes to play. career-long reception of some 24 yards for Carl Roaches gives the Oilers a first down. And a mix-up on the snap and a fumble. Moon on top of the ball very quickly. And once again, a couple of linemen exchanging pleasantries there.
Yeah, it was David Little in the middle of that pushing match, and I kind of like it, seeing the Steelers be like the old Steelers, intimidators. Even though Lambert is sitting on the sideline, he's probably teaching the guys in practice how to do that.
See, the snap was just bobbled.
See, Gary Dunn has really got a problem here. He's got Romano thinking about him so much he forgets to count, and that's impossible to do.
Well, the Oilers will try it again. 2nd and 10 from their own 47. Moon under pressure. Down he goes at the 35-yard line. Robin Cole with the sack. Cole's first sack of the 1984 season. He's happy.
It's like I said earlier. You see number 67, Gary Dunn takes one side. Robin Cole just puts a spin move on Big Matthews there and just comes right on in. And that's a big offensive line. They have to become more mobile. Yeah, well, Romano, now watch him. He's doing a good job on Gary Dunn. Gary Dunn's been in his face all day long, and Romano's showing why he's starting center today.
That was one of those instances where Matthews is probably thinking, I wish I was back at center this week, where he'd been all season long.
Really?
2 for 6 in third down conversions, but they're going to need 21 if they can convert this time. Some movement in the line, and penalty markers are down. Oilers complete the pass across midfield and close to a first down. Smith with the reception, but penalty markers down as we saw movement in the line. Lon Johnson making the hit for the Steelers. Here's the indication. Offside against Pittsburgh.
Looked like the left defensive end was offside. I think he jumped. We'll see here in a second, but from up here it looked like he was offside.
So decision time now for the Oilers, because Smith's reception will be very close to a first down in Pittsburgh territory at the 43-yard line.
If I was the coach for the Houston Oilers, what I would do would put Warren Moon, as UCAM was watching there, I would put Warren Moon in the shotgun the rest of the day. He is getting pressure so fast that he needs extra time to see his receivers.
You see Jerry Seaman calling now for the chains on the near side to come in, and they'll make the measurement before they get the decision here on this penalty. Indication of the offside, and we don't know. We're trying to read lips there. It may have been number 93, Keith Willis. Well, you can see they're going to be just a little bit short. Steelers with their 21-point advantage, enjoying their highest first half production of the 1984 campaign.
If you look on the field, you see water starting to stand on the field. It's been raining even before the game, and it's been raining all during the game. We've seen lots of fumbles. We've seen receivers slip. But Warren Moon is trying to do the job. He's a good quarterback. He has to have a supporting cast if he's going to do what he needs to do.
4th down and inches. Oilers in Pittsburgh territory, trying to muster some points here before the end of the first half. The ball carrier, and once again, Harvey, it looked like there may have been just a little bit of mistiming in the line or the snap.
There was some mistiming. If you look at it, you see the line, nobody moved off the ball. The Steelers actually, as Gary Dunn comes in with a great play, nobody on the offensive line for the Houston Oilers blew off the ball. And when you got 4th and inches, that is the time you know the snap count. You're on the offensive line. You have to beat the defensive lineman to the ball. If you do not, you're in trouble. That's what happened.
The Oilers clearly in trouble now. They had a drive early in the game. They ended up trying the field goal, which hit the crossbar. 2:35 left to go. They've been unable to generate any points, and we want to remind you that Bob, Ahmad, Bill, and Axe will bring us up to date on all the other happenings around the NFL, as they do so capably each and every week. 2 minutes and 35 seconds playing time between now and our NFL 84 halftime report. Penalty marker blocker down. Abercrombie trying to find some room on this near side, but unable to do so as Johnny Grimsley was there. We'll wait and see what this penalty is about.
But it looked like Abercrombie was just so excited to get his hands on the ball that he was leaning. He's not playing that much. His rhythm is a little bit off. I'm sure he will get it together before the game's over with. But I think he was a little bit ahead of the snap.
Motion, and I believe against Abercrombie, number 34. Apparently, perhaps the weather having something to do with the normal line of communication from the wireless mic here and Jerry Seaman. Elton Veals now into the running back spot. Malone 6 for 9 in the passing department. You take a look at the graphic. Those 2 touchdowns, both to Stallworth. 2nd down and 11. Play action fake. Now the handoff coming to Abercrombie, and this time he's got some room. At the 35-yard line, Bostic bumps him out of bounds. A couple of people along the sidelines perhaps feeling that Bostic was a little overzealous. It was almost one of those clothesline jobs. A 21-yard pickup for Abercrombie.
That's one of those frustration tackles. When you're tackling a guy who's in your secondary like that, you know that he came through the line untouched. What happened on the play? Very simple. Houston is still guessing with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh overloaded one side and came back to the side that wasn't overloaded. And Houston, thinking they would go to the loaded side, actually just overcommitted. That's the longest run of the season.
21 yards for Abercrombie. 1st down Steelers. They're at the 35-yard line in Houston territory. Malone has been mixing his plays very nicely. He'll try Abercrombie again. The hole was there, but it closed very quickly. He gets to about the 32-yard line.
Abercrombie is really feeling good right now. Before the game, he was excited. It seemed like the coach had told him, we're going to play you a little bit more today, and he's playing himself on the field for the rest of the day. He's really run the ball well.
So Mark Malone taking a look up at the scoreboard clock as we've reached now the 2-minute warning here in the first half. Malone with a pair of touchdown passes to Stallworth and a 13-yard run of his own, giving the Steelers a big 21-point cushion. We'll see if they can add to it in the final 2 minutes of the first half right after this. That second half of the doubleheader, Miami, the only unbeaten team in the NFL, looking for number 10. They go against the New York Jets, who are 6-3. An excellent matchup today in the AFC's Eastern Division. That'll be our doubleheader game. I know you'll enjoy watching Dan Marino and company. Boy, the numbers that he's put on the record book already this season, you talk about impressive.
Whoa. He's a very confident young quarterback. He's the type of quarterback that you like to have on your team. Confident, young, with a lot of ability.
And we're looking at a quarterback who's had quite an afternoon already here in the rain thus far. He's looking for more. Mark Malone fires incomplete. Darrell Nelson, the tight end, the intended receiver. Johnny Grimsley defending on the play. Nelson, who's caught only one ball this year, missed the early part of the season with a knee injury. Was hoping for number 2 there, but in the rain he couldn't hang on.
You know, Mark Malone's doing something that, as a defensive player, an ex-defensive player, I can pick up. He's watching his receivers all the way. Anytime you do that, if you don't look off the defense, it might turn into an interception. With the way the Houston Oilers are playing right now, it might be halftime before they notice that.
3rd and 7. 1:56 to play in the first half. Pittsburgh with a 21-0 lead in Houston territory. Trying to augment that score right now. Houston trying to muster a pass rush, and for the first time today, Malone is dropped. Back at the 43-yard line, Mike Stensrud is there for the sack. His third and a half, an official credit for the year. 3.5. And that one coming at a very opportune time.
As you see, he's looking for his receiver. His receiver obviously is covered. Stensrud comes in and makes the play here, but that was defensive secondary. If his receiver had been open, he would have had time to throw the ball.
Minute 40 to go in the first half. Clock running. Ball back at the 41-yard line. Roach is the intended receiver now, as we see Craig Colquitt standing back at his own 46-yard line. Punt formation now for Pittsburgh. Having to go up to pull the snap down, and gets off a kick that goes out of bounds, perhaps inside the 10. It's going to be around the 11 or 12-yard line, I believe, where it'll be spotted out of bounds. So Colquitt, who has had only one punt into the end zone all season long. Gets this one out of bounds in the vicinity of the 12-yard line. And with 1:18 left to go in the first half at Three Rivers Stadium, the Steelers surrender the football, but they still own a 3-touchdown lead. All the great contributions of the Rooney family, not only to football, the United Way, so many civic projects in this city.
Definitely, and he waited a long time before he got a winner in Pittsburgh, too.
And of course, they have loved the Steelers. What a job Chuck Noll has done over the years. We mentioned the playoff situation earlier. You see the Rooneys across the way in the box, watching the field, safely behind some glass and out of the rain here today. Just over a minute to play in the first half. Houston trying to get untracked. That's been the story of their whole season thus far. Moon stepping up against the pressure and in and out of the arms of an intended receiver at the 30-yard line, Tim Smith.
So Warren Moon's got a lot of ability. In that time, that particular case, if I was Warren Moon, I'd have ran the ball because he had a lot of room. Had about 15 yards to get the gain on that.
Moon now 6 for 14, total of 92 yards. We see the graphic. Of course, playing in the rain, nothing new to Warren Moon after the years up there in Canada. He would play in the snow, the rain, everything else.
He's an excellent quarterback. He's got a cookie business in Houston, a Moon cookie.
Getting ready to open some new stores in Houston area, we understand. Right now, Moon is going to call timeout. He didn't like something, apparently, that he saw. He wasn't totally satisfied with the play that had been called. So he takes the time and will wander off to the sidelines to confer, as he has done so many times in his career, with his head coach, Hugh Campbell, who also came down from the Canadian Football League.
You know, there's a problem right now, especially where Houston is concerned. They wanted to start the game off running the football. Second time they had the ball in the runner's hands, he fumbled the ball. The Oilers got away from their game plan. They have to throw the ball. The Steelers are ready for the passes, if you notice by the amount of pressure they're putting on Warren Moon. And Warren Moon right now is trying to, I guess, get a score himself. I don't know what he's talking to his team, trying to get them fired up. He knows how to win. He's talking to his coach now, trying to figure out what to do. He just got to get an overall team picture. Everybody's got to pull together and be a team.
I want to mention the fact that Pro Bowling continues on NBC Sports next Saturday. A special time next week. It'll be 1 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific. Jay Randolph and Earl Anthony in the Greater Detroit Open. Many of the nation's top bowlers will be entered, including Pete Weber and the defending champion, Brian Voss. And, of course, Earl Anthony will continue his series, 7 Steps to Better Bowling, on a November to remember right here on NBC Sports. This next weekend you have bowling and, of course, the Breeders' Cup. What a big doubleheader coming up next Saturday here on NBC.
Hey, Gary, congratulations yesterday on an excellent high rollers piece with Earl Anthony.
Well, thank you. Thank you. We enjoyed that tremendously. Competition with bowlers going for a $200,000 top prize down in Las Vegas, and it went right down to the 10th and final frame. Well, Moon rolling to the near side on the run, fires it out here, completes the pass, and Smith with a diving reception. Penalty marker is down back at the goal line.
That's the key. That is what Warren Moon has to do. He has to roll away from the pressure. We have to see who the... Now watch him. He rolls right out. He gets a lot of blocking from his outside people. It's Gary Dunn chasing him, which is no match at all.
There's Mr. Merriweather.
He throws the ball. He can throw very well on the run.
He sure can. He fired that one in there, and Smith with a nice grab.
Well, he needs to do that. If he stands in the pocket, he'll get killed today.
Warren Moon, coming into this ball game, had been sacked 29 times this year, and we've seen him go down a couple of times already in this one. That's a lot of times to be hammered to the turf. And we can see some yards being chalked off here against the Steelers.
Houston ball on their own.
I believe it was a roughing call or an unsportsmanlike call. No indication here from Jerry Seaman. We saw earlier that his wireless microphone was not functioning. We don't know if that's a result of the weather, but it has been steady rain in the event you've just joined us all through this ball game. And with 1:05 to go, let's see if Warren Moon can come up with something for the blue and whites of the Houston Oilers.
He needs to roll again.
There was a late hit on the part of Merriweather and a roughing the passer penalty. Now we have whistles once again.
There was a motion in the line there. It looked like number 73 was motioning in the line there.
Here's the procedure indication.
Yeah, it looks like Big Harvey was moving in the line.
Harvey Salem, a second-year player from California. So they gained, and now they lose a few.
First down and 15.
Move the ball back to the 40-yard line. It'll be 1st and 15.
I like those guys with first names Harvey. You know, they sort of stick.
I noticed you picked right up on that. You look at the interior line for the Oilers. They've got some fine young players. They've had problems with mistakes, but they're building the nucleus of an excellent offensive line. Defensive help, Hugh Campbell told us yesterday, when they look for the draft this year, they'll be looking for defensive help. Here's Moon avoiding one on-rusher, but he can't avoid the rest of that charge from the Steelers.
There's only so much a quarterback can do under that type of pressure. He missed, one guy missed him, and he was standing tall in the pocket. Shows Warren Moon's courage. He's probably catching a lot of bad press in Houston about the Oilers. Warren Moon has great statistics this year. Have an injured player on the field.
Keith Willis and Brian Hinkle making the stop with the sack of Moon as we take a look at, I believe, Dean Steinkuhler, who was the Outland Trophy winner, the big draft choice, the rookie from Nebraska. Boy, they can ill afford to have anybody hurt in this ball club.
He's 273 pounds.
Get an opportunity now. If we look at the top right-hand portion of the screen, perhaps we can see what happened to Dean Steinkuhler.
There he is. It's number 70 right at the top. Oh, that's what happened. Oh. 93 wrestled him down, but what actually happened?
He fell on top of Keith Gary.
Yeah,
Gary rolled in underneath him, it looks like, number 92.
That's right. So Keith Gary is right below Warren Moon there. Number 92 laying down. Steinkuhler's right over him. Now that hurts. That
looks
hurts.
like it's going to be a knee on the right side, and oh boy.
Yeah, that hurts. Now, offensive linemen have that happen to them all the time. If they're blocking a guy, they do not know what's happening behind him.
Well, Dean Steinkuhler, the rookie right tackle, down, injured here in the final moments of the first half.
Well, you hate to see that happen. He has some kind of protective wrapping on his knee already, so that lets us know that he had a problem.
Here's over here on the left-hand side of the screen, you talk about young linemen coming along. Bill Fralick, who plays at the University of Pittsburgh, is being sought by a lot of pro ball clubs, and I believe that's Mike Hollowak, the director of player personnel for the Oilers in the yellow sweater. Fralick engaged in conversation with some of the Houston hierarchy a bit earlier and enjoying this ball game today. University of Pittsburgh has been struggling, frankly, through the season. They've won only one time, but a lot of people believe that that young man right there on the left-hand side of the screen can make a major contribution to someone's football team next season.
Well, that's right, but I'm sure that he would like to win a starting job or to really be wanted because he's a good ball player, not because that this year's big draft choice is injured. You know, we noticed that he had some protection on his knee already before he got injured, so this might even enhance the injury. I hope it's not that bad.
Top draft choice, the Outland Trophy winner, Dean Steinkuhler from Nebraska, down on the field as we have this injury delay here with just less than a minute to play, and you can see Steinkuhler now being helped off the field.
Yeah, it is a pretty bad. He can't even put his right leg down, so it was hurt before the game even started. And any time you see a player put somebody behind him, get his leg pinned up in there, that meant his whole body went backwards and his leg stayed straight, which means something is torn.
I assume now we'll try to confirm that Eric Moran will be in to take over the right tackle spot. Indeed, number 76, Moran from the University of Washington, a rookie, getting the call after Steinkuhler goes down. Ricky Walls, the motion man. Handoff inside and with some running room. Stan Edwards getting out close to midfield, pulled down at about the 49-yard line.
Stopped by Shell.
I understand that what we saw there on Steinkuhler's right knee was a brace, a precautionary measure. He has not had a history or a problem through the season of an injury that we're aware of, so we'll just hope that it's not too bad. See Moran, number 76, who replaced Steinkuhler.
Oh, Moran. He came in and put a good little sneaky offensive lick on somebody.
He had a lick on Gary Dunn.
You know, it's defensive linemen. That used to happen all the time. Big offensive linemen would sneak up on you, and as soon as they see you back to them, they start smiling. They'll say, no, you don't even see him coming.
Another third down situation for the Houston Oilers, just short of midfield. Remind you once again at halftime, we'll be going to New York for a complete update on other activity around the NFL, and this is the 10th weekend of play. Some interesting matchups, and it's the time of the season now when teams start thinking about playoff possibilities. That's very much on the mind of the Steeler fans. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Bill McAtee, Pete Axtell, all there to keep us up to date. Oilers 2 of 7 third down conversions as we get set for our next play with 35 seconds left to play here in the first half. You see Brian Hinkle on the near sideline conferring with the Pittsburgh staff.
You know, Gary, if I was Warren Moon, I would have told the coach, let me roll out some more. Let me get away from the pressure. I can see well down the field even when I'm running. That's his strong suit. His strong suit is his ability to scramble, his ability to throw on the run, and to hit his receivers on the run. I think he should do that.
3rd and 6 from the 49. Movement in the line. Penalty markers down. 5-man rush on Moon. Completes the pass to Smith inside the 40. And another penalty marker goes down. So we've had a couple of infractions. One as the play unfolded. Another one as the play was concluded on the reception to Smith.
Both penalty markers, and we don't know what happened, but both penalty markers actually came down in areas that would go against the defense. One up on the line and one up in the defensive backfield. We have to wait for the referee to find out exactly.
How important. I mean, here's a team trying to muster some pride. They've got to get some points on the board. Yep. And both penalties we can see going against the Steelers. Right. It'll be first down.
I know, being on the next defensive football player. Steinkuhler's hurt.
As soon as we have any further information on the condition of Dean Steinkuhler, it appeared to be a knee injury, his right leg, right knee. Taking him off in the rain here at Three Rivers. 1st and 10. You see the time, less than 30 seconds. And right now, Houston at the Steeler 35-yard line. Moon from the shotgun. Here come the Steelers. Pick up the blitz. Pass incomplete. Holston, the intended receiver at the 24-yard line, couldn't hang on. Sam Washington, the defender back there.
It's an excellent opportunity for the Houston Oilers to get some kind of score on that last play. Whenever you see as many Steelers coming, then there's always man-on-man coverage on the wide receivers because everybody else is blitzing.
At the 35-yard line, it's now 2nd and 10. Houston has had only a couple of opportunities to be in Pittsburgh territory. Their first drive ended when a field goal attempt on the part of the newly acquired Cooper hit the crossbar. Moon in deep trouble at midfield. Out of good. Merriweather and Hinkle. And they're just teeing off, Harvey. And as a former defensive lineman, you know the feeling that they're enjoying right now.
Oh, you love this. They're running all kind of stunts. Gary Dunn came inside. Here comes Merriweather. There goes Hinkle. If Merriweather gets half a sack for that, that's 9.5 for the year. Warren Moon should roll. There's nothing that the Oilers offensive line can do to stop the Steelers. He should roll out, get outside, and throw the ball, or else it's going to happen all day.
Should be the last play of the first half. Moon stepping away from the pressure, hanging out of the football, will go out of bounds as time expires here in the first half at Pittsburgh. So once again, the Oilers with an opportunity got to the 35, but they were unable to generate any points after tremendous penetration on the part of Merriweather and Hinkle resulted in the 3rd sack of the afternoon. Pittsburgh enjoying a 3-touchdown lead. 2 of those scores going on touchdown passes from Malone to Stallworth. Let's take another look at one of those scores as John Stallworth moves closer to Lynn Swann's club career touchdown record. It's a 21-0 ball game. Pittsburgh on top of the Houston Oilers. The poor Houston's really struggling as they're looking at possibly their 10th consecutive loss of the season. Harvey, now I know you played for a winner with the Dallas Cowboys. What do you tell a ball club that's lost 9 in a row and is down 3 touchdowns at halftime?
Well, I've never been in this situation, so I don't know what a coach would say. But I think the coach would probably ask the guys to pull up from pride. You know, it comes a time when a guy really has to dig real deep and see what he's really made of. Because what a lot of people forget is every football player on the field was drafted. You know, they all came out of college and the whole 9 yards. And the Steelers are no different than the players that were drafted by the Houston Oilers, which means that they are capable of winning. But it's an attitude. They really have to believe they can win to win. That's the problem.
Taking a look at the numbers from the first half, virtually even as far as total yards. There's an edge for rushing to the Steelers, an edge for passing on the other side, but the big difference is on that scoreboard, 21 points. Now, You said you were never in that situation. You ever play on a losing ball club any time in your career?
Never.
High school?
Never.
College?
Never.
Pee-wee football?
Never.
I like working with a winner. How about a street game?
I've lost maybe 1 or 2 street games. That's when I was either quarterback or receiver.
We're going to go 1-1 in the rain after this one's over out here behind the trucks. Huh?
As long as I can be a receiver, I'll be okay.
All right. Gary Anderson getting loose here. The rain has been constant. It has been steady from a couple hours before kickoff. Once again, however, they have taken that amazing equipment out of the field, squeegeed it dry virtually, so it's a good surface now as we start play. Houston trying to bring this one out. It's Carl Roaches. And out to the 21-yard line as Roaches goes down, and coming up to make the stop is Anthony Corley from Nevada Reno.
Now, if I was Warren...
Merriweather and Hinkle, and they're just teeing off, Harvey. And as a former defensive lineman, you know the feeling that they're enjoying right now.
Oh, you love this. They're running all kind of stunts. Gary Dunn came inside. Here comes Merriweather. There goes Hinkle. If Merriweather gets half a sack with that, that's 9.5 for the year. Warren Moon should roll. There's nothing that the Oilers offensive line can do to stop the Steelers. He should roll out, get outside, and throw the ball, or else it's going to happen all day.
Should be the last play of the first half. Moon stepping away from the pressure, hanging out of the football, will go out of bounds as time expires here in the first half at Pittsburgh. So once again, the Oilers with an opportunity got to the 35, but they were unable to generate any points after tremendous penetration on the part of Merriweather and Hinkle resulted in the 3rd sack of the afternoon. Pittsburgh enjoying a 3-touchdown lead. 2 of those scores going on touchdown passes from Malone to Stallworth. Let's take another look at one of those scores as John Stallworth moves closer to Lynn Swann's club career touchdown record. It's a 21-0 ball game. Pittsburgh on top of the Houston Oilers. The poor Houston's really struggling as they're looking at possibly their 10th consecutive loss of the season. Harvey, now I know you played for a winner with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
What do you tell a ball club that's lost 9 in a row and is down 3 touchdowns at halftime?
Well, I've never been in this situation, so I don't know what a coach would say. But I think the coach would probably ask the guys to pull up from pride. You know, it comes a time when a guy really has to dig real deep and see what he's really made of. Because what a lot of people forget is every football player on the field was drafted. You know, they all came out of college and the whole 9 yards, and the Steelers are no different than the players that were drafted by the Houston Oilers, which means that they are capable of winning. But it's an attitude. They really have to believe they can win to win. That's the problem.
Taking a look at the numbers from the first half, virtually even as far as total yards. There's an edge for rushing to the Steelers, an edge for passing on the other side, but the big difference is on that scoreboard. 21 points. Now, you said you were never in that situation. You ever play on a losing ball club any time in your career?
Never.
High school?
Never.
College?
Never.
Pee-wee football?
Never.
I like working with a winner. How about a street game?
I've lost maybe 1 or 2 street games. That's when I was either quarterback or receiver.
We're going to go 1-1 in the rain after this one's over out here behind the trucks. Huh?
As long as I can be a receiver, I'll be okay.
All right. Gary Anderson getting loose here. The rain has been constant. It has been steady from a couple hours before kickoff. Once again, however, they have taken that amazing equipment out of the field, squeegeed it dry virtually, so it's a good surface now as we start play. Houston trying to bring this one out. It's Carl Roaches. And out to the 21-yard line as Roaches goes down, and coming up to make the stop is Anthony Corley from Nevada Reno.
Now, if I was Warren Moon, the Houston Oilers, what I would do right now would actually do what he did semi-effectively at the end of the first half. Roll outside, get away from the pressure, throw the ball on the run, get the Steelers defensive backs to react to him thinking he might scramble, and he gets some receivers open that way. That's the best way he can do it right now. But running game's not working at all for him. The only thing actually working is his arm, so he should use it.
Well, we'll see whether or not he elects to do so. As the Oilers are on the ground for the first play from scrimmage, and it's a tough yard off the left side. Moriarty carrying the football. defensive front for the Steelers, 4 sacks in the first half, making life miserable for Moon and company. How about the differences in the size of the field that you play on, Canadian ball versus the NFL? Is that any kind of a factor in his adjustment to the NFL game?
Not really. I talked to Warren Moon about that because everybody really wanted to know. Warren Moon did play ball in the United States. He did play ball with the same type of field regulations that we have in NFL. So going to Canada is no different than coming back and playing what he played on in high school and college.
50% completion record in the first half of this ball game, 8 for 16. Moon trying to get over the 50% mark, completes the pass for a first down to Tim Smith out over the 30-yard line. And once again on the exchange from the center, looked like we saw a little hesitation or perhaps a bobble. We don't know if that relates to the wet weather or if it's this new combination with Romano starting at center for the first time.
That's the change. It feels like it's the change at the center position. Matthews has moved over to guard. They got Romano as the center. Warren Moon takes snaps from him in practice, but in a game, in the heat of a game, it's a little bit different.
1st and 10 for Houston. Their best drive came early in the ball game. A field goal attempt hit the crossbar. Moriarty about the 38-yard line. Second-year man from Notre Dame, cranking it out straight ahead. Robin Cole with the tackle. We understand that Steinkuhler, who is out for the ball game, who started at right tackle through the season, the fine rookie, is having x-rays taken of that right knee. If we're able to learn anything here during this second half, as soon as we have information, we'll, of course, pass it on to you.
You know, Gary, it looks right now that the Oilers are going back to the original game plan. Run the ball, and maybe throw a pass. We'll see if it works.
2nd and 5. Moon stepping away from the pressure. Merriweather chasing him. He'll be run out of bounds. Got back close. Well, got beyond the line of scrimmage. Picked up some yards. Merriweather's had a great afternoon. Mike Merriweather, who came in with 8 sacks, the most ever by a Pittsburgh linebacker. And he has padded those numbers. As we take a look at Eric Moran now, he's replacing Steinkuhler.
Yeah, he is. He's a big rookie. He's coming over trying to help out. And if you notice, he came over to help out Matthews, and his man rushed the quarterback. See, that's he doesn't really know what he's doing right now. He actually didn't expect to play. Boy, he's a big lineman.
Yeah, he made a pretty good pop on Keith Gary right there. Moran is 282 pounds. That's his listed weight at 6'5" from the University of Washington. Incidentally, let's see, the down is now 3rd, and they were just short of the first down. So Moon got close to 5 in that last possession. Struggling straight ahead. Across the 45-yard line. Well, electing to hang on to the football that time. Warren Moon gets himself the first down.
Well, this is probably the most consistent drive they've had all day, especially in the rain. I think Warren Moon wanted to go back to his original game plan. If he keeps running the ball, Warren Moon needs the first down here. And he's doing the best thing he can. He's getting it himself. It was a bobble, though. There's a little mix-up.
All right, 1st and 10 now at the 45-yard line. Houston trailing 21-0, just underway in the second half at Pittsburgh. Moon with protection. Completes the pass on the far sideline, and making the reception was the H-back Chris Dressel, immediately bumped out of bounds by Donnie Shell. You know, one of the things that Hugh Campbell told us, he has said, and he's really sticking to his guns. He says, we're not going to panic. We're not going to, turn to tricks. We have to have confidence in what we're doing. And I think you have to admire that, because week by week, the frustration level has to be increasing. And his demeanor, from what we have detected and from what we gather from the media in the Houston area, has been remarkably solid, I would think.
Really. He's working with what he has. This is a team that he had when he was hired as a head coach, and he's doing the best he can with it.
He says we've got to get some more weapons for Warren Moon. Give him the support. Moon with time to throw, looks down the middle. This one underthrown badly. Smith, the intended receiver, at the 35, but he would have had to really rifle that one in there because there were 3 of those dark jerseys of the Pittsburgh Steelers back there.
The way Warren Moon threw the ball, then it seemed like Smith actually had broken off the pattern. Was going for a deep pass when he actually should have been curling in.
So it'll be 3rd down, and they'll need about 11 or 12 yards. Coaching, a course in psychology. The quote from Hugh Campbell. Indeed, it is.
Yeah, if you're a player for the Oilers, will be players in that now. The Oilers really need some player help.
He'll be able to write a book someday. There's Moon in trouble again. Down goes. Brian Hinkle eventually put him away. That's the 5th time this afternoon that the Steelers had just pinned their ears back and come storming in and had success. Warren Moon, who had been sacked 29 times coming into this ball game, has seen the total run up now to 34 on the season, and this is 10th game.
Keith Gary made that play. Keith Gary, defensive end, ran a stunt, came right up the middle. That's number 92 there. Came right up the middle and just missed Warren Moon. That created that whole play.
John James, the veteran kicker, a man who's been doing it for 13 seasons in the NFL, having to do it again here in the rain at Three Rivers Stadium, standing back at his own 22-yard line. Lewis Lips on the receiving end, awaiting the football. Lips at the 25. Still on his feet. Across the 35 to the 37. Boy, I tell you, this young man is exciting. We mentioned earlier that a lot of people think that he is a strong candidate for Rookie of the Year honors. Mike Johnson brought him down, but he got 12 yards the tough way there.
No, he's real dangerous. He even handles the ball in wet weather. Does real well with it.
So Lips gives the Steelers the ball across the 35 near the 40. We'll be back for more third quarter action from Pittsburgh in a moment. Their 6th victory in this, the 10th game of the season, coming in enjoying the luxury of a 2-game lead in the AFC Central Division over Cincinnati. The Bengals playing later today against the San Francisco 49ers, and then next week it's Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. The Steelers know that if they can salt this one away today and then defeat Cincinnati next week, they're going to be on the road to the playoffs for the 11th time in the last 13 years. Mark Malone has had a great afternoon. He scored 1 touchdown himself. He's thrown 2 touchdown passes to John Stallworth to account for the 21 Pittsburgh points. Out over the 40 to the 43-yard line. It'll be second and about 4.
Stopped by Baker and Baker.
Today's game is brought to you by Today's Chevrolet. See Today's Chevy, drive Today's Chevy, live Today's Chevy. By Nikon, who take the world's greatest pictures. And by Duracell, the copper top battery. When it comes to making them last longer, we never stop.
Second and 5. Pittsburgh at their own 43-yard line. Abercrombie and Pollard are the setbacks, and Pollard with the ball. Breaks out of the grasp of one man. Good second effort there on the part of Pollard. Stensrud and Bostic making the tackle. Pollard got himself a couple of yards and up close to first down territory.
Well, Gary, we're talking about the Steelers having a 2-game lead in the Central Division, and it's very strange being 5-4 with a 2-game lead.
Exactly.
It seems sort of different for especially the Central AFC Division.
Buffalo with the lead. Green Bay on top of New Orleans by 7. Third quarter score, and San Diego stretching it now against Indianapolis. Steelers, a couple of tight ends in there now as they have the short yardage situation, and Pollard has the first down plus more as he muscles his way into Houston territory at about the 47, 46-yard line before Willie Tullis could make the tackle.
Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are showing muscle football. They're just blowing off the Oilers' defensive line and their linebackers. It's really no contest right now.
I've been impressed with the poised performance on the part of Mark Malone. We spent considerable time with him yesterday, and he was evaluating his own performance this season and saying that his confidence developing and trying to read defenses where it's becoming more reflex now rather than that total thinking process. Certainly today he has had no such problems because he's been able to put 3 touchdowns in the book. Swings the pass out here. This is Lips at the 40 and out of bounds at the 39-yard line. Excitement from Lewis Lips here. Excitement in the NFL as we go to New York for this update.
In the Hoosier Dome, John Turner has set up another San Diego touchdown. Turner returns this Mark Herman pass to the goal line. Wayne Morris went in from the 1. It is 24-7. San Diego as the Chargers are starting to open things up.
Chargers taking command in the Hoosier Dome. Here Pittsburgh comfortably controlling things against the Houston Oilers. Houston last year didn't win until the 11th game of the season. They lost 10 in a row last year, Harvey, before they were winners. And I believe next week they have, well, I was going to say Detroit, but I'm not sure that that's the case. I've got to double check. They're at Kansas City next week. We watch Malone scramble and fires on the run. Stallworth again. And there's one that goes into the record book for John Stallworth. We take a look again at Malone and his third touchdown pass to John Stallworth. Jesse Baker had a shot. Malone on the dead run, and look at Stallworth go to work. Career touchdown pass number 51 equals Lynn Swann's club record, and his fourth reception for 109 yards, 3 touchdowns here today. Oh, Stallworth having himself got the hat trick today, Harvey.
Yeah, he did. And Mark Malone really knows who to throw the ball to when he gets in trouble. He finds him right wide open, and Stallworth is there.
Conversion attempts is good. And so just like that, Malone has stretched it out now to a 28-point advantage. The Steelers making a rout of things here at Three Rivers in the rain. More football action coming up after these messages. Gary Gerould with Harvey Martin. We watch Gary Anderson put the ball on the tee. The Steelers breezing now 28-0. John Stallworth with 3 touchdown receptions. His 5th game this year with more than 100 yards receiving. The 20th time in his career. The 51st career touchdown reception. A lot of memorable things here in this dreary, rainy day for John Stallworth. Roaches bringing it out across the 15. Short of the 20, and down he goes. Anthony Corley comes out of there with some enthusiasm. Special teams unit taking a great deal of pride in this apparent victory for the Steelers today, Harvey.
All right, Mark Malone said at first he was having trouble reading the secondaries. As you see, Jesse Baker comes in, number 75. Oh, and Mark Malone just pushed him back with his left hand, if you saw that. He's rolling out, and he's looking downfield. He knows Stallworth is somewhere downfield. There's Willie Tullis. I talked to Willie last night, and Willie said it's number 20. Willie said he was going to play John. Very aggressive. That's 3 touchdown passes he's caught on Willie Tullis today.
And we have a quarterback change now for the Houston Oilers as Oliver Luck will try his against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moriarty getting the pitch out. Loses the football. Linebacker has picked it up. It's Hinkle. He'll score. Brian Hinkle. Brian Hinkle, who had a key interception that set up the winning points against San Francisco, getting the touchdown after the fumble by Moriarty, going 21 yards. And just like that, here in the third quarter, this game has been totally blown open as the Steelers now look for point number 35. They've got it.
Well, I'll tell you what. Everybody should know from the Houston Oilers, they should say, this is the real Alamo. Watch this lick. Oh.
Moriarty losing the ball. There's Hinkle to scoop it up. 21 yards for the score. That makes it a 35-0 ball game. But one man we haven't seen is Jack Lambert. He's had the toe problem, Harvey, and you were checking out his shoe earlier today.
Right. For the folks at home that really want to watch Jack Lambert, he's not playing today because of a toe injury. What happened was he came down on his shoe, and his toe hit, and it bent like this. Now, at home, when you do that, that really smarts. That hurts a lot. He has protective stuff on his shoe now, and here's hoping we can see it on the sideline some.
Ready for the kickoff. Lambert, of course, the perennial Pro Bowler, hurt early in the season, and he has been unable to participate at all here today. But, of course, the Steelers haven't needed him. Houston trying to regroup once again as they get the ball out close to the 30-yard line. They were possibly going to use Lambert today in isolated rushing situations, but as we've indicated, there has been absolutely no need whatsoever. At the 30-yard line, Oliver Luck was in for one play. The pitch out went to Moriarty, who was fumbled when he hit. Saw Hinkle scoop up the football, go 21 yards for the touchdown that makes it, or make it 35-0. So the Oilers try again, this time from the 30. Oliver Luck, now the quarterback, giving way after Warren Moon had problems, and Luck going to run with the football, and he picks up a quick 10 or 11 yards. Now, last week, Oliver Luck came into the ball game in the loss to Cincinnati, and he ended up being one of their top ground gainers on the ground. He rushed 3 times, picked up 38 yards. take a look at some scores. Chicago leading the Raiders. Third quarter, the Raiders trying to bounce back after that loss of last week, but trailing the Bears, and Walter Payton, who had a couple of touchdowns today.
You know, Gary, I asked Warren Moon last night. I was talking to him. I said, Warren, why were you taking out of the game? He said, the coach didn't want me killed anymore, and you can understand why. He hasn't played a bad game, but the Steelers are beating up on him so much that the coach feels that he needs to save his quarterback.
Having been sacked 5 times, Moon out, Luck in the pocket, penalty marker down, completes the pass. Holston at the 39-yard line. Mike Holston on the receiving end, but there was a penalty marker drop just about the time that Oliver Luck released the football.
You know, I wonder how Oliver Luck feels when he knows he's coming off the bench. Just as protection for the #1 quarterback. That's just not. That can't make you feel too good as a second-team quarterback, knowing that you're out there to take the licks.
Well, we saw some interesting quotes in one of the Houston papers this week that were forwarded to us, and Oliver Luck, avoiding any type of a quarterback controversy whatsoever, says, you know, Warren Moon is
7 offense, still first down. Number 87 offense, holding.
Jamie Williams guilty of the infraction, according to Jerry Seaman. But Luck trying to avoid any type of quarterback controversy at all. They were very gracious in his remarks in defining his role and Warren's role, and have to have an awful lot of respect for the man in that particular situation. It can't be easy, as you say.
Really? It's not any kind of quarterback controversy at all. It's a matter of keeping your starting quarterback alive.
You have to have a lot of respect for every one of these football players when you're looking at 0-10 in the face and down by 35 points, trying to hang in there and trying to make something happen. Let's see what Moriarty can do.
Well, first, Moriarty's got to get the ball and run. You know, when you receive a pass, you need to turn it upfield. You just can't stop and stand and watch the blocks form. You have to run with it. You know, it's been a lot of hesitation by the Houston Oilers today. I don't know if it's the Steelers or if it's indecision on what they should do. Right now, it's the people in Houston are probably going, my goodness, the Oilers are going 0-10, and that's, you know, these guys are football players and they have hearts too, and a lot of times the fans can be a little bit brutal on the guys, and they're young players, and you know, and the people in Houston really shouldn't get too down on them, but they should win a ball game.
Awful difficult, trailing by 35. Berkey Walls, the man that's in motion, and here come the Steelers again. Luck with a quick release over the middle to Dressel, completing the pass at the 43-yard line. Chris Dressel pulling that one in. Washington, number 41 there with the stop. Now, earlier when we saw Hinkle pick up that fumble and go in, Steeler defense now this season has returned 6 balls for touchdowns, which is not too bad in 10 ball games. 4 interceptions for scores and 2 fumbles. So they have really been making some things happen.
You know, what a lot of people don't understand is with defense, turnovers is the big key. If you can take the ball away, if you can stop drives, if you can get interceptions, that helps out your offensive team tremendously.
Well, the defensive unit forcing turnovers have turned it into 72 points coming into this ball game, and they've added to that total here today as we watch Luck scrambling again across midfield down at the 45-yard line. Oliver Luck showing us some mobility there as he dances around and gets, I believe, the first down. Yes, indeed.
You know, Gary, I feel that Warren Moon in the first half should have done the same thing what Oliver Luck is doing. Receivers, and I said that. His receivers were covered. He should have pulled the ball down and left. Should have ran and gained some yardage. And he's got more ability than Luck.
Scramble effort puts the ball at the 44-yard line in Pittsburgh territory where it's first down. You see the marker indication. Moon looking on from across the way. First down's virtually even. A lot of statistical areas where there's not that much disparity between these two teams, but then you look up at that scoreboard and you say, what in the world has happened? A little bit of everything. Luck looking long down the middle, completes the pass. 17-yard line, Mike Holston once again.
You know, this happens a lot when you get a new quarterback coming in. The defensive team has studied the regular starting quarterback. So you're looking at Oliver Luck here. He's looking at his receiver all the way. No, he's looked off. He looked off the defense. He looked straight down the middle. Wide open.
Ron Johnson coming up to make the tackle. You saw Bob Coors, number 90, the linebacker, dropping. They're trying to keep up with the receiver. That'll be first down now for Houston at the Pittsburgh 17, and this is the deepest penetration of the afternoon. Steeler fans exhorting the defense to come up with another big play. Pressure again for Luck. Steps up in the pocket. End zone, and it's incomplete. Dressel having to come back for the football. Almost was able to hang on, but almost doesn't quite get it.
You know, Gary, a lot of people, as I said earlier, when you're preparing for Warren Moon, a guy who can roll out, who can run, who can do so many different things, a very talented quarterback, actually one of the leaders in the AFC in passing. When you get his second-team quarterback, Oliver Luck, coming in, that's a totally different look for you.
Yes.
You're used to looking at somebody else, and here comes Luck, and it takes you maybe a quarter to figure out what type of quarterback he is.
And the Steelers had some defensive pressure coming that time, but the Oiler line was able to pick it up. Second down, 10 from the 17. Inside, Moriarty struggling for yardage, loses the football. Washington knocking him down and loose from the football, but I believe that it was Holston on top of it. We see him coming out of the pile there with the football.
Well, I'll tell you what happened on the fumble. You look at Oliver Luck's eyes. He knows he's against the Steelers. But Moriarty, as you're coming out of the backfield, he should lower his head. He's running straight up right now. See, and it's wet. He's holding the ball out like that. See, that is the wrong way as a running back to carry the football, especially in wet weather. He has to lower his body down, and they got the ball back, but he has to lower his body down and try to get as much as he can.
Pick up of 3 yards, make it third down, 7. 5 of 12 and third down conversions for the Houston Oilers today. Luck now operating from the shotgun, and here comes that pressure. Right over the middle. Holston can't hang on this time at the 8-yard line. Washington was on him like glue. And Oliver Luck didn't have the luxury of any time because the rush was coming. He had to get rid of that football.
Well, what's happening is every time they go to a shotgun, it looks like the linebackers are blitzing.
Indianapolis inching a bit closer to San Diego. Detroit leading Philadelphia by a touchdown now in the fourth quarter. You see our score here at Three Rivers Stadium. This one's been played in a steady rain. Raining not perhaps as heavy now as it has earlier, but it has rained all afternoon. The Pittsburgh fans and their ball club certainly don't seem to mind. Fourth down. Oilers' deepest penetration of the ball game. They're at the 13-yard line. Here's the pressure. Pass knocked away. Sam Washington once again intended for Holston, and there's still a big goose egg up on the scoreboard for the Houston Oilers as the Steeler defensive unit celebrates below us.
Sam Washington's the wrong man to throw against. He has 6 interceptions this year.
So Oliver Luck, having no better fortune than Warren Moon, walks off his team down 35-0. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers enjoying a shutout performance thus far in this one. 4:01 to play in the third quarter. Don't forget, second half of our doubleheader today, Miami going against the New York Jets, I should say. The Jets with their flossy record of 6-3, and the Dolphins undefeated in 9 previous performances this year. That'll be the doubleheader attraction. Mark Malone has been in all the way at quarterback. Ehrenberg getting some duty here out to the 18-yard line. Malone has had himself a great afternoon. 3 touchdown passes to John Stallworth. Malone running one in himself from about 13 yards out. And then, of course, the defensive unit with Brian Hinkle, 21 yards on the fumble recovery. Again, a reminder now that we have Miami and the Jets. AFC Eastern Division matchup. Marino can put some points on the board, and that Jets with Gastineau and company going to be trying to tee off and put some pressure on Dan Marino later this afternoon. Pollard a couple of yards out over the 20 to about the 23. Stensrud there with the tackle.
You know, even though I did play on the Dallas Cowboys, we were in a situation once, I remember, where we were down real bad in the ball game. Not this bad, but down enough to know that if you're on a defensive team, especially like the guys on the Houston Oilers right now, you don't want the Steelers to score anymore. I mean, it's embarrassing enough as it is.
Yep.
And you want to try to hold them. Don't let them score anymore, because now pride is coming into play a lot more than anything else.
And, of course, on the other side of the field, when we saw Oliver Luck trying to get some time, you've been in that situation where you just you lay your ears back and go after him.
Oh, yeah, that's all the Steelers are doing.
Right now, the Steelers in possession of the football, just short of the 25-yard line, trying to get the few inches necessary for the first down. Pollard going to work once again in the center of the line.
Well, the Steelers are playing just big muscle offensive liners. You see them all blocking, trapping. Pollard coming through, who's actually a guard in the backfield, the way he runs. And they're just playing ball control right now. They want to drive the ball down the Houston Oilers' throat and just get the most out of it.
We could see Randy Rasmussen is now in there at center replacing Mike Webster. Webster, who is playing today in his 172nd consecutive ball game, getting a bit of a breather. Pollard loses the football. Oilers recover. Johnson on top of it. At the 23-yard line, Mike Johnson stuck an arm out there and pulled that ball in. So a turnover on the fumble by Frank Pollard.
Frank Pollard was running. He had a pretty decent hole. It was a trap block, outside trap. So everybody's pulling around side. He runs out. He just loses the ball.
And Johnson is there. Gets a hand on it. So Houston takes over deep in Pittsburgh territory. We'll see if they can put some points on the board right after these messages. Here in the rain today, just under 49,000, 48,892. They had a sellout for the 100th consecutive time. There's Jack Lambert. We were talking about him earlier, the problems he's had with that dislocated toe.
Right.
And Harvey, there's that shoe.
That's that left foot. You see it's got extra protection on the top. It's actually sewn into the shoe, as you can see right at the bottom of his foot. He has a very bad sprained toe because, you know, Lambert loves to play and he's not out there.
Houston, after the Pollard fumble, has Oliver Luck scrambling for his life, gets rid of the football, and almost making the reception down there was Bryant. He had heavy traffic to contend with. It was amazing that Luck was able to get rid of it, and the fact that Bryant could keep it from being intercepted.
You know, Luck's got a good last name because he needs it today. He really does.
Well, that'll be second down and 10. The ball at the 23. Harvey, you got a football score here. This one's got to pain you a little bit.
Yeah, this one hurts a little bit. This is the third quarter. It's New York Giants 13 and Dallas Cowboys 7. Oh, I wonder what's happening in Dallas. Coach Landry's not too happy.
Too many parties this weekend with the announcement of that dream team.
Well, the dream team, and only three current players on the team now, so everybody else should have been ready to play.
Here's Oliver Luck, back to throw again, looking for the end zone. Penalty marker down at the 5-yard line. Carl Roach is the intended receiver, and there was definitely contact made down there as he tried to cut back for the football. We'll see which way it goes. Dwayne Woodruff defending.
It looked like contact back there. It really did. Because Carl Roach went down before the ball actually got to him.
And the indication that it is against the Steelers. So the Oilers trying to avoid the shutout. The last time the Steelers had a shutout, we'll get the call.
Number 49, defense.
As you can see, he's coming back. Oh, yes, he just tripped him right up there.
Dwayne Woodruff, number 49, making contact with the intended receiver, Roaches. Started to say the last time the Steelers shut out a team here at home was back in November of '81, 3 years ago, when they blanked the Rams 24-0. They enjoy a 35-point lead. Time of possession, look at this, the difference here, more than 3 minutes in favor of the Oilers, and yet they're the team that's still trying to break out of that vapor lock. Fumbled the football. I think Luck got back on top of it. A fumble on the exchange. Seen that too many times today.
That's been a problem all day long. Now, if you're noticing the offensive line, as you're watching here, it's just been a problem all day long. Luck is trying to get back and look downfield before he actually has the ball in his hands. A lot of time quarterbacks are under the center so much that they take it for granted that they can get the ball. You know, he has to take his time. He has to get the snap and then drop back. He's not doing a bad job, actually. I mean, even though they are down 35 points, I mean, he's doing as well as he expected.
Second and goal. Ball short, just short of the 7-yard line for Houston. Luck looking for room, and he slips as he decided to run. He hit a wet spot. You saw the water slide out, and he's down at the 6-yard line. It looked like he had room to get closer to the goal line.
Yeah, he had room actually to score. Now he takes his time now and watch the snap. He's holding his hands out. He gets the ball. He actually could have scored if he'd have stayed out a little bit more. You see him take, he slips right there. Oh,
see how wet it is.
Oh, it's very wet.
Yeah, there's vivid evidence of the water on the field. Once again, excellent pictures down there from field level. Our crews that have been out there all day in that rain, earning their keep today.
They're doing an excellent job.
Well, third down and goal. Ball at the 5-yard line. Houston trying to generate some points. Big rush. I believe it's a touchdown. Jamie Williams, and there's the indication indeed. Oliver Luck had tremendous pressure, But Jamie Williams had to wrestle Brian Hinkle for the football, and Williams won the battle, and the Oilers are finally on the scoreboard.
It's Jamie Williams' first NFL touchdown. Oliver Luck's got tremendous pressure. Everybody's blitzing. Everybody's coming, and he knows that somebody's got single coverage on him, and there it is right there. It's a good play.
Well, now, according to my information, that would be his second touchdown of the season. We'll have to get a clarification on that, but Jamie Williams is happy right now. At least the Oilers who have avoided the shutout at this point as they go for the conversion attempt. Joe Cooper coming on now for the conversion attempt. We saw Cooper earlier with a 43-yard field goal, and we understand we are correct. It's the second touchdown reception for Williams. The kick by Cooper is good. So it's been a long, hard struggle. We're down to the final 30 seconds of the third quarter before Houston breaks through. They had an opportunity earlier when a field goal attempt when it was a scoreless ball game hit the crossbar. Then they surrendered 35 points before they finally got through for 7. A 4-play drive going 12 yards, eating up just a minute and a half after the turnover on the Pollard fumble. And Houston has got themselves a touchdown.
Well, you got to understand right now, though, the Steelers' defense is full of substitutions. Everybody on the, not all of the starters for the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the field right now. There are a lot of substitutions. Oliver Luck is a substitute himself. He comes in under tremendous pressure, does a good job of getting the ball off. He's got to do a lot more in the next quarter to get the Oilers even closer than this. But I kind of feel that they heard us talking about a shutout up here and decided no shutouts, please. We definitely have to score.
Rick Woods was coming in on the line there. As we take a look now at scoring by quarters throughout the season, and this gives you an idea of the frustration that this Houston ball club has undergone all year long. They have surrendered coming into this ball game as many points as any team in the National Football League. And you can add 35 to that total, which will give you an even 300. That's given up 30 points a ball game in this game number 10 of the season.
That's the most in the NFL.
Cooper to kick off. 26 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Drives this one down through the middle, and having a little problem down here is Ehrenberg at the 3-yard line, trying to get untracked, and there's just not much of anywhere to go. He'll go down to the 8-yard line.
Yeah, that's a problem right now with the Houston Oilers. Even on specialty teams, they're not aggressive right now. And somebody has to do something to put a spark into the team. Whenever you get a kickoff coverage team like that, you see a guy fumbling the ball, everybody should be going after the guy with the ball instead of trotting down like we just saw him do on the specialty teams.
Cooper just signed on Friday of this week. Florian Kemp, we understand, broke a small bone in his back, and there was a question whether or not he'd be able to play, so they signed Cooper on Friday from the University of California. Got his first NFL point on that conversion attempt. He had the hard luck early in the ballgame, as we mentioned, of a field goal that hit the crossbar and was no good. A couple of new running backs now for the Steelers, Scoop Gillespie and Anthony Corley at the setback positions. And this is Corley out over the 10 to about the 13, 14-yard line. Anthony Corley is from the Nevada Reno, and Scoop Gillespie from William Jewell, a rookie. So a couple of newcomers getting a chance to try their hand as we've reached now the end of the third quarter at Three Rivers Stadium. The score 35-7 in favor of the Steelers. And we'll be back right after these messages from your local station.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda and the full line of sophisticated Mazda products. By NCR, who bring you a better personal computer. And by Bud Light, the less filling light beer with the first name in taste.
Gary Gerould along with Harvey Martin, happy to be bringing you this NFL action today in the AFC Central Division, where things have gone the Pittsburgh Steelers way all day long. They lead 35-7. Mark Malone has had just a tremendous afternoon. 3 touchdown passes to John Stallworth. Scored 1 himself. The defense has scored 1 time. We've just seen Houston, however, get their first points of the afternoon. And we're looking now at Frank Corley running with the football. Beg your pardon, Anthony Corley, trying to power his way ahead as Malone surveys the situation.
Yeah, Malone knows that he has his second team, third team running backs in now. But you have to admire the Pittsburgh Steelers for sticking with that running game. They might as well. This is the same running game that took them through the 70s.
Checking some scores. Indianapolis stretching, or San Diego stretching it out over Indianapolis. Philadelphia and Detroit now tied, looking at a possible overtime situation in the fourth quarter. No overtime possibilities, I don't think, in anybody's mind here at Three Rivers in this one. Steelers now 3rd and 8. Or third, we'll try to clarify that for you. 3rd and 4. In third down conversions, they are 3 for 8 for the afternoon. We hear a lot of whistles down there. There was some running room for Corley, but whistles as the play developed.
I think it was too much time.
Delay a game prior to the snap. Number 16, offense.
Hey, Gary, if you notice the Steelers running backs, even with the new running backs in, they're running the same type of plays. They're actually running traps up the middle. They're running traps outside. They're faking traps and throwing passes. They haven't left their game plan yet, and actually they haven't been forced to leave the game plan all day.
Looking at Mark Malone's numbers for the day, not impressive in terms of total yards, but then you see 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had a career-high 3 touchdowns last week at Atlanta. He has now equaled that with his 3 touchdown performances through 3 quarters here against the Oilers. With time to throw. Now having to scramble a bit. Malone trying to get out here across the 20-yard line. Get enough for the first down? Looks like he did, Harvey.
Yeah, it looks like he did.
Let's take a good look here at Mark Malone.
Well, he's looking over the field. He's checking it out. If you see his eyes, he's surveying the field. He sees everybody's covered. He just takes off. Now, that's the mark of a good quarterback. He was checking the field out. He noticed he had no receivers open. He just took off, and he's looking at that first down marker, dives for it. It's a good way.
One of the few times today when the Oilers have been able to really generate some pressure and force him out of that pocket.
Yeah,
but not seen that happen.
Yeah, but he's looking the field over. You can see his eyes checking everything out.
Well, he got what he needed. He got the first down. So Malone with a great recovery there. This time it's Ehrenberg to the 25-yard line. A couple of pretty good pops as Patrick Allen comes up out of the secondary with a hit.
Same type of plays, traps, and everything right up the middle. Houston hasn't been able to stop them all day, and I don't see why Pittsburgh should even stop doing it, and they're not.
Steelers also utilizing now Calvin Sweeney and Wayne Capers as Coach Chuck Noll, with the luxury of this big lead, is getting a chance to shuffle personnel. And we've seen 6 running backs: Ehrenberg, Pollard, Abercrombie, Veals, Gillespie, Corley, and now Sweeney and Capers getting an opportunity to see some playing time at a receiving position.
The rookie running backs are getting a chance to really show what they can do for the Steelers.
Second down, 5, fumble, and I believe the Oilers have it. Well, we don't want to be premature. One of the Steelers came right back in there quickly, scooped Gillespie, and Gillespie got the ball back.
Scoop's living up to his name. He just scooped it right up.
Absolutely, right there, because that ball, there were 2 white jerseys there, and it looked for sure as if the Oilers had another fumble recovery, and we'll get a good look right now.
Oh, yeah, he just never really got a chance to get the ball in his hands. He's scooping it up. Way to go, Scoop.
Rookie ball carrier from William Jewell.
You know, when you're a rookie and you get a chance to carry the ball and you fumble it, all of a sudden your whole career goes in front of your face.
Sinking feeling, yeah. Third down, 7 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4-man Houston rush. Malone completes the pass. Capers out at the 31-yard line. The 7th reception of the season for Wayne Capers. Ted Thompson with the tackle.
Right now, it's just basic football. They run the ball, throw the ball, and Houston right now,
first down.
That's all. And Houston right now is just playing really uninspired defense. You're watching the guys rushing the quarterback. They're just pushing and shoving. Nobody's actually coming after anybody anymore, as if the enthusiasm has died. This has to change if the Oilers are going to win football games this year.
35-7 our score at Three Rivers in the rain. Been raining all day long. That has been no major problem as far as the Pittsburgh Steelers are concerned. They're enjoying this afternoon. Elton Veals getting an opportunity to carry the football as he gets across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Johnny Grimsley with the tackle for the Oilers.
Yeah, you see two new running backs here. Veals gets the ball and he turns right where he's supposed to, right up in the hole. It's a good run. He's running very low to the ground. In a game like this, when it's wet on the field, you really don't want a chance losing the ball to a hard tackle. Oh, these must be
Steeler faithful here under their umbrella. You can see a lot of enthusiasm there as they enjoy this one. You know, Elton Veals once rushed for more than 400 yards in a single game as a junior college running back. This time Gillespie gets the call for the Steelers.
That's right. Scoop's picking his way through the line as Mark Malone's got that confident look in his eyes.
Sure does.
You see it? He looks like, boy, I'm having a good day today. Oh, he looks good, too.
This is only his 5th start in the NFL, and we've got one of the Oilers shaken up. Jeff Donaldson who is the strong safety, perhaps with an injury to his left arm.
As we're looking at Malone, sir, man, he has that air of confidence about himself right now. That's pretty good.
Well, that's what Chuck Noll told us. They've worked so hard this week. They have to get the consistency. As we've watched them work on Donaldson down there, they're working on that arm.
Oh, he's hurt.
So we have 10 minutes, 31 seconds left to go in this one in Three Rivers. 35-7 our score. We'll be back with more action after this. You may be about to see some action. Our director, Harry Coyle, getting at the shots today. There is no truth to the rumor that Harry is suiting up here for the final minutes of play. I want to set the record clearly straight, but Harry and the crew have been doing a great job providing us with quality pictures here in this lopsided ball game. Here's Corley across the 45-yard line.
So, you know, Harry scored some touchdowns today with his shots, so we have to take our hats off to Harry.
Absolutely. We'll put him on our scoreboard.
Any day. You know, we were watching the new quarterback warm up, and if you're in the Houston Oilers team shoes, you would know it must be a real bad day when the rookie quarterback's coming in the fourth quarter. You know that's the coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers is saying, let's let everybody play some today.
Scott Campbell saw his first action last week, had one series against the Atlanta Falcons. Gillespie turning the corner, but not getting much out of it. We're inside the 10-minute mark in this one. Want to remind you again, great second half to our doubleheader coming up today. You've got the unbeaten Miami Dolphins going against the New York Jets.
Yeah, I've been on some games where we've lost some games as a Dallas Cowboy by small margins and some large margins also, but that plane ride back home is a long trip, and it's going to be a long trip today. Especially
Minnesota coming back. You saw the score there, leading Tampa Bay. They were down by 14-3 at one point. They lead now 24-17. Elton Beals close to midfield. Shuttling players on and off the field. We were talking about, we went into the commercial break. We didn't really amplify the point in talking with Chuck Noll yesterday and trying to achieve the consistency. If you're going to get into the playoffs, you're going to look ahead, you've got to be consistent week in and week out. And the Steelers have not been. They had big wins this year over the Rams, and they lost to Cleveland. They beat Cincinnati big. Then they were blown out by Miami. They knocked off San Francisco. Very impressive win. They lost to Indianapolis. Last week, they blew out Atlanta. Today, they're blowing out the Oilers. That's going to make Coach Chuck Noll and this Pittsburgh organization very happy. Down the middle. This one knocked up in the air, almost intercepted. You see that Alan Lyday had an opportunity there. Lewis Lips was the intended receiver, and the ball was overthrown by Malone.
You know, if you think about it, Malone, when he's throwing this ball, he sets, he throws it. It looks like a Bradshaw pass. It's like an old Bradshaw slingshot throw. But you know, early on in the week, there were a lot of talk in the papers up here in Pittsburgh. And what Stallworth and the guys were saying was that the team is young. The team actually needs to know that they have to beat big teams and come back and beat the small teams if they're going to be consistent and get into the playoffs the right way.
Colquitt in the punt. Roaches in the single deep spot for Houston, watching this one go by him. And out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Greg Colquitt's had a great season in that respect. We mentioned earlier he's had only one punt all year long go into the end zone. And he's had 13 kicks inside the 20 coming into this ball game, and he's done it a couple of times here this afternoon. So Oliver Luck and company will come out and try to generate a few more points for the Houston cause. They need a bunch. Action continuing at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh, where the Steelers are comfortably in front of the Houston Oilers. The Oilers are staring their 10th consecutive loss in the face. Don't forget Miami and the Jets coming up in the second half of our NBC doubleheader today. That will be at Andy. Oilers starting at their own 8-yard line. Oliver Luck replacing Warren Moon at quarterback early in the second half. Luck scrambling, unloads just as he's hit. Dressel at the 25-yard line, bumped out of bounds.
Oliver Luck's got a lot of luck going his way today because he got that ball away right before he was hit.
Oliver Luck, who is an off-season law student, he may have some second thoughts about the career, the way things are going right now. We don't want to jest in this situation. We talk. Here's the Giants on top of the Cowboys by even a bigger margin, and Cleveland leading Buffalo. Well, there are a couple of hungry ball clubs there that would like to have a victory today. 25-yard line. First down now for Houston. Luck under pressure, and again he gets the pass away and completes it. Williams at the 35-yard line.
You know, Oliver Luck is showing me something. You know, you have to understand that Luck is a second-team quarterback, and he's coming in under tremendous pressure. They are 35-7, the points are, but you got to understand Luck is doing pretty good. You can look at the linebackers in the line here rushing.
Bob Court, number 90, dropping off. I think will make the tackle here.
Right. They're running all kind of stunts up front, and this is the time that the defense really comes alive. You run stunts, you do everything you can. They did complete the pass, but yet still the line just missed Luck. That was all.
Jamie Williams giving it a good valiant effort there as he was trying to get the necessary yardage for the first down. He gained about 9.5. Movement up there in the line. Penalty marker, I believe, down across the way. Stan Edwards fighting to get up close to the 40, but he's going to be well short of that.
No, Stan's got to lower his head and run the ball. I've seen a lot of timid running today by the Houston Oilers, and a lot of people might not go along with it, but it's just what I've seen. You have to lower your head and go for it. If you notice the guys for the Steelers, there's offsides against the Steelers. If you notice the guys for the Steelers have been lowering their head and getting extra yards. I don't care if it's a first teamer, second teamer, or third teamer, they've all been lowering their heads and getting yardage.
Jerry Seaman's call. Offside against the Steelers.
That's Mr. Luck, number 10. Seems like he should have a number 7 on his back.
Edmund Nelson, number 64, coming across. Boy, he's a big fella, a 270-pounder.
Well, he's anxious. He's happy to be in the game. You know, when you get in a game like this, you want to do something, get your names in the stats. So you can at least show your friends you played.
6.5 sacks this year. He's been able to provide some pressure on quarterbacks throughout the season. First down play, Oliver Luck scrambling, looking, and now getting the ball away. Edwards out of the backfield up near midfield. Gary Dunn making the tackle after Edwards gathered it in. And once again, the mobility on the part of Oliver Luck, moving around, making something happen, getting a few more yards.
Well, if you're Oliver Luck, you know when the coach says, Oliver, you're in, and I'm taking Warren out, you know you're in there just to stay alive. And so that's what he's doing. He's running around being sure that he stays alive and does something for the Houston Oilers.
Coming into this ball game, Luck had thrown 24 passes this season, completing 14. Had been sacked 2 times. Edwards with the hole across midfield. Pittsburgh territory at the 47-yard line before he's bumped down by Brian Hinkle.
Well, it seems like Houston Oilers are trying to work on some kind of running game right now. It's the wrong time actually to work on a running game. You're going down to the end of the 4th quarter almost. Got 6 minutes left. You're trying to run as Philadelphia and Detroit.
Murray with a field goal of 19 yards. You see Green Bay with that 1 touchdown lead over New Orleans.
No, but having a running game right now is really an unrealistic running game because all the starters for the Steelers aren't in there.
Completes the pass. It's dropped. Steelers may have it at the 35-yard line. We'll wait until they unscramble. It's a Pittsburgh football. Steve Bryant, the intended receiver, held it just long enough, and then the ball just squirted out of there. And the Steelers say thank you again, and Oliver Luck walks off on the far side. Scott Campbell coming in at quarterback now for the Pittsburgh Steelers as we take a look once again at the problems that continue to beset the Houston Oilers. We have 5.5 minutes left to go in this one at Three Rivers. Pittsburgh has the ball and a big lead. The Breeders' Cup coming up next weekend on NBC. Bowling and the Breeders' Cup, 4 hours of coverage from Hollywood Park. Oh, it'll be a great weekend. $10 million on the line, and right now, Scott Campbell in his first start of the afternoon, or first playing time of the afternoon, handing off to Elton Beals. Campbell, the rookie quarterback from Purdue, saw his first action played in 1 series last week in the victory over Atlanta. Threw 1 pass. We were told that the ball was dropped. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to complete his first NFL pass. And his first play here this afternoon, handing off to Elton Beals, who gets a yard.
You know, going back to the Breeders' Cup, there is a miracle horse in that. John Henry.
John Henry.
Oh, boy, I tell you, here's hoping he comes back from his injury a little bit just to be sure that he does well.
Gillespie, the motion back, hand off to Corley. And look at the hole here. Corley has got all kinds of running room. Out of bounds. downs at the 39-yard line as Patrick Allen finally bumped him down, and Anthony Corley shaking loose for a big gainer there. Looked like he's going to be in the vicinity of 20-plus yards, 25 yards.
That's a sweet play. Everybody's going outside to the right. Corley just comes through and open the hole there. Houston's actually not being aggressive anymore. They're playing as if they wish the game was over with. And you got to understand, the game will get over when the time runs out. So football players should be football players till the game's over.
All right, at the 39-yard line, second half of our doubleheader featuring the Dolphins and the Jets. From the 39, Pittsburgh. Elton Beals to the 32-yard line.
No, I hate to keep saying this, but Houston, the defensive players of Houston are waiting for somebody else to make the tackle, and by the time somebody decides to make a tackle, he's got 5-6 yards.
San Diego on a Fouts touchdown pass to McGee, stretching it, and Philadelphia bouncing back, keeping things even with Detroit. What a battle those two clubs have going. No such luck here today as far as the Houston Oilers are concerned. Pittsburgh enjoying a lopsided victory. 3 touchdown passes pulled in by John Stallworth and Mark Malone. Scott Campbell at quarterback now, looking for Corley again to the 30-yard line, be about a yard short of the first down as Tim Joyner makes the tackle. You see Campbell with the indication to Chuck Noll on the near side. Scott Campbell had some very impressive career stats at Purdue. Of course, Mark Herman, the guy who virtually rewrote the NCAA record book at Purdue, and Scott Campbell second to Herman in many categories. They have a lot of confidence in this youngster.
Well, I hope to see Scott complete his first pass today and watch his reaction.
Well, it's starting to rain hard once again. We haven't had hard rain for some time. We'll see how he handles these weather conditions. Going to hand off to Corley, and close to the first down, right around the 29-yard line. There's a wave of Oilers throwing back. See Willie Tullis in there and Patrick Allen. Fourth down situation coming up. Campbell making sure that he gets the correct indication. You see him clapping his hands. You know that he's been rewarded by his coach and says, go for it, youngster.
Oh, why not? I mean, in a situation like this, going for it is much better than trying to get a field goal in these conditions.
Well, actually, they're going to bring the chains in here and take a look to see how much they need. Mark Gastineau, Joe Klecko and company, the New York Jets, will be trying to tee off against Marino.
You know, Gastineau is an incredible defensive end. Being an ex-defensive end, I kind of like to watch and look at him. And Gastineau's having a real good season. He's leading the league in sacks and everything.
That's right. You talk about enthusiasm brought to the game. There's a perfect example.
Yeah, he's also enthusiasm leading to a new rule that you can't be enthusiastic after a sack. He brought a lot to the league.
Marino has just been incredible. We saw him, 3 weeks ago against this Houston ball club down in the Orange Bowl, and he just keeps throwing touchdown passes week in and week out. I think he's up around 27 now in 9 games. He's broken Bob Greasy's record. He's looking now at the NFL season record held by Blanda and Tittle at 36. That's the featured attraction in the second half of our doubleheader. Steelers with Beals have the first down. So Scott Campbell in the second series of his NFL career, handing off here, mistake-free, getting a first down, keeping a drive alive. Pittsburgh on top, 35-7, less than 3 minutes to play here now in the rain at Three Rivers.
I kind of feel that Scott Campbell is sort of asking the coach, please let me throw a pass. Please let me throw a pass. I mean, he is a quarterback. Handing the ball off is part of his job, but throwing passes is another part.
See the time at the top of the screen as we count down toward the second half of our doubleheader. Gillespie in motion. There's the pass, and it's an incompleted pass. Wayne Capers, the intended receiver, he was going to make sure that that was not diagnosed as perhaps being a lateral because he went for the football immediately.
Well, I know Scott Sain's real upset. He knows that nobody was around the receiver. As you can look in his eyes, he's going, I didn't complete my first pass yet. We know that already.
Counting down toward the 2-minute mark as Campbell surveys the scene, and across the way, Hugh Campbell and the Oilers. This poor ball club now, soon to be 0-10. Last year they were 2-14. In the strike-shortened season of '82, they were 1-8. That's a 3-31 record over the last 3 seasons. There have been very few moments in which to get excited and to cheer. Well, right now we're down to the 2-minute mark, getting ready for Another one of those fantastic finishes that'll be coming up. We have a 35-7 ball game here at Three Rivers Stadium. Pittsburgh on top. Let's stand by now for another of those fantastic finishes. Stadium, you talk about defensive ends in their days. Harvey, you got an interesting note there in that Raiders-Bears game.
I know everybody was looking for that game, and Chicago has 8 sacks against the Raiders, and that's something different. The Raiders have a good offensive line, but I guess Chicago has a better defensive line.
Chicago also has a 14-6 lead in that contest. 2nd and 13. Pittsburgh with the big lead at the Houston 30. Corley to the 24-yard line, getting some of those yards back.
That's just
counting down in the final moments of this one.
That's just good old-fashioned football that they're doing now. Coach Noel knows that he doesn't really want to. He's not even protecting a lead. He's just running his ball club, being sure that everybody gets a chance to do something.
3rd down and 7 coming up. We want to thank Tim Fogarty, who's been spotting the Oilers for us today, and Jim McGinley, who's been spotting the Steelers. George Jordan, our stats man up here in the booth, helping us keep current on all the activity. And yesterday, such a delightful day in Pittsburgh. Today, it's been absolutely miserable as far as weather conditions are concerned. It's rained all the way. But Scott Campbell and company not minding. Campbell looking deep. Intercepted at the goal line. Carter Hartwig with the interception at about the 1-yard line. Scott Campbell thought for a second there that he had his first NFL touchdown pass, but it was not to be. And with a minute and 11 seconds yet to go, Campbell and the Steelers lose the football. The Oilers will take over at their own 2-yard line. It's a 35-7 score. Looking ahead to the second half of our doubleheader between the Jets and Miami. Only a minute 11 left to go. Houston started impressively. Moved the ball down the field. Had to try a 43-yard field goal that hit the crossbar. That's kind of summed up their whole day. From that point on, the Steelers just took command. 3 touchdown passes from Malone to Stallworth. Oliver Luck loses the football, picks it up, avoids the safety, gets back out to the 3-yard line.
Talking about luck.
Oh, boy.
Oliver picked the ball up and just, I don't know, it's not been Houston's day, obviously.
Absolutely not. We have seen so many problems on the snap exchange today with both quarterbacks, Warren Moon and now with Oliver Luck. You talk about it not being their day. It hasn't been their season. 10th consecutive loss, staring them right in the face now. Hugh Campbell. Well, we saw that quote earlier about football is a course in psychology. Another chapter being written here today in the rain. From the 3-yard line. There's a hole, and there's the football. Steelers have it at the 15. Dan Edwards coughing up the football, and I'm not sure which one of the Steelers ended up on top of it. Waiting for them to unscramble. We saw Bingham, Craig Bingham, number 54 down there, the native of Jamaica. He walks out of there with a football. There he is.
As you see, just loses the football here. It's wet outside. The Steelers are coming in. It was a decent hole there. Probably one of the biggest holes they had all day long, and he just fumbled the ball.
Looked like a good ground gainer, but Edwards losing it in the wet. And so the Steelers, with 25 seconds to go, come back. And they have the football at the 15 in Houston territory.
You know, Edwards lost the ball because he was running straight up and down. As a defensive player, I know if the running back runs up and down, he's going to fumble the ball.
Scott Campbell just going to kneel down, and mercifully, this one will be over.
It's the worst
the fans here, they wanted more points. They wanted to see the youngster go for the end zone, but you see both teams moving out of the field as we watch these final seconds being ticked off. The Oilers, the search continues. They've now lost 10 consecutive ball games. The Pittsburgh Steelers coming into this one striving for some consistency, and certainly it would appear that they've found a bit. Since for the first time since the 3rd week of the season, they've won back-to-back ball games. Hugh Campbell coming across the field, headed toward the locker room as this one is mercifully over. 3 touchdown passes on the part of Mark Malone to John Stallworth. The defense also got in on the scoring as Brian Hinkle took in a fumble from 21 yards out. Malone ran one in on the ground himself from 13 yards. Those were the points for the Steelers today, 35-7. And you watch a disconsolate group of Houston ball players headed toward the exits. Want to remind you of the doubleheader action coming up on NBC. Our final tally here at Three Rivers, 35-7. We'll be back right after this.